Surprise! Welcome to Defense Diaries. I'm your host, Bob Mata, and today we are back from our Thanksgiving break. I hope that everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope that you guys enjoyed family and friends, had a nice meal, watched the Bears' most horrific performance of all time, which led to the firing of their head coach. Thank God. Yeah, that was a nightmare. That was a nightmare. That was a crazy, crazy game, which really did all that it could to ruin my day. But I just didn't let it do it. So we've missed you guys. We are back. And the plan was initially to go with Sarah Boone sentencing today, which we're still going to do. And then pivot over to Brian Walshe's case, who stands accused of killing his wife, Ana Walshe. Those are supposed to go down at 1:30 and then 2 respectively. We're still going to do that, but Mandy had suggested that we stream this trial that's starting. It's supposed to start like now. We both forgot about it. So our thumb doesn't even show it. I added it to the descriptor in terms of the live. So it is South Carolina versus Jamie Komoroski. Tragic case. Basically, the write-up for it is that it's a South Carolina woman accused of drunk driving and crashing into a golf cart. And that golf cart happened to be carrying a brand new bride who was just leaving her wedding. And obviously, she died as a result of the accident. So Jamie Lee Komoroski, I don't know if I'm butchering your name, it's possible, faces several criminal charges, including felony DUI and reckless homicide resulting in the death. Samantha Miller was the bride's name, and she died as a result of the impact of the crash, and her new husband, Eric Hutchinson, was critically injured. They say that investigators found that she rear-ended the golf cart when they were driving, and I'm assuming in her vehicle, at a speed of in excess of 65 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour zone. Komoroski allegedly told police that she was bar hopping prior to the crash, and investigators did a breathalyzer, and apparently that came back at 0.261. So that in Illinois, the legal limit is 0.08. That is 3 times the legal limit in Illinois. Now, I don't know what it is down in South Carolina. It's pretty much similar everywhere. So, it's one of those things where, I don't think it's going to be that different. She was hammered. She should never have been driving. So, yeah. So we figured that I don't imagine this is going to be a very lengthy trial. It seems like it's pretty open and shut. I don't know what the possible defense here is going to be. So I'll be interested to see that. So I've got an eye on it. Looks like it still has not started yet. So we will keep watching it and see what the deal is with that. Yeah, because it's still saying upcoming. So yeah, 12/2/24. There's 2,000 in the chat over there. So all right. So it looks like Mandy was just able to update the thumbnail, which is awesome. So how was it, y'all? Tell me in the chat. How was your Thanksgivings? Did you guys have a nice Thanksgiving? Did you guys enjoy it? We enjoyed it. We drove down to Arkansas. It's about a 9-hour drive each way. Got down there, and it was my mom's side of the family, so had a really nice time. Got to see my brother. Got to see my mother and my aunts and my uncle, and it was nice. It was a really really nice time. We also paid homage to my uncle who passed in the spring. My uncle Bruce, who was my ride or die uncle. He was my guy, and we were able to. We all spread a little bit of his ashes in different parts on the property. I went with the pond, which he loved to fish in so much. So it was nice. It was a very nice weekend. So um how are you beautiful humans doing? I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear what's going on with y'all. Tell me, tell me. In the meantime, I'll share this just so you guys know we're not missing anything. And then hopefully Mandy can work on the putting the right dude up. All right, so you can see it was supposed to have started at 11:30 a.m. Now I wasn't sure. I was asking Mandy. I'm like, have they gone through all the stuff they need to go through? Well, thanks, cool lady. Happy to be back. Happy to be back. Um, Thanks, Luz. I like my name too. It's a good vowel ending name, you know. So, like what we don't know is if there's still kind of going through some of the pretrial stuff that you have to do before you start trial. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was in the spring when my uncle passed, and it was a surprise. It was an aneurysm, so it was. I had just. It was actually. It was actually late winter. I had just landed in Tennessee and had got picked up by my friends, and my mother called and told me the terrible news, and so you can imagine that weighed heavily on me. I was down in Tennessee because we have a group of friends that get together every year and we watch the Super Bowl at various locations, and there's like 15 of us, so we were doing that, and it was a tough way to start it, but um, my uncle would have wanted me to power through. So Broken Baker says, I think Law and Crime has misunderstood. She was set to go before the judge at 12:30. I don't think they have a jury. They have ordered extra jurors in the case as it's well known. Interesting. Thank you, Broken. That's very, very interesting. So yeah, we could have some bad intel from Law and Crime. That's what it sounds like. That's what BB's saying. So I guess we'll just have to play it by ear. So what else we were planning to do today, as I said in the beginning, we are definitely going to go over to thank you all. I appreciate the condolences so much. Mandy, like I don't know. See if there's any way we can try to figure out if this thing's actually going at 11:30. I'm definitely live over on LNC. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye on it. Worst case scenario, if this thing does not appear to be going today, we'll probably end the live and then we'll come back shortly, maybe 12:15, because I think that's my time, which is obviously 1:15 Eastern, which is where both Boone and Walsh are Eastern Standard. And then we'll come back at 12:15, prepare for the sentencing in that case, where Sarah Boone has now obviously been convicted of killing her former boyfriend, Jorge Torres. And today she's being sentenced for that crime, for that conviction. Remember, she was offered what I thought was a sweetheart plea deal right before trial in that case. If I remember correctly, it was a 15-year offer on that. And she rejected it. And the state is looking for life. So we'll see where that lands. We'll see where that goes in terms of mitigation, in terms of aggravation. We should hear these things during the sentencing hearing. It'll be interesting to see what they put on. I mean, the sentencing hearing could be lengthy, depending on what the defense is going to be putting on in terms of mitigation evidence. And if they're going to be leaning into, the concept of Sarah Boone was, a battered woman, which, I mean, some of the stuff, I think that would be apropos broken. Just a couple of holes. Like, did you ever used to catch fireflies and you'd poke the holes in the top of a jar with a screwdriver and put little grass in there and they'd fly around in there? Something like that, except in a suitcase for her. Yeah, that would be an interesting concept. That would truly be an eye for an eye, right? Except she survives it. But yeah, that could be a long sentencing hearing. We'll just have to play it by ear. We'll see how that thing goes. And I'm going to pull that up on a different screen just so I can keep an eye on that. And then Brian Walshe. There's some interesting things going on there. If you guys are not familiar with that case, he stands accused of killing his wife, much like our Suzanne Morphew, Suzanne Simpson, and Ana Walshe were all. Now, nobody's been charged in Morphew. Her husband was originally charged in Morphew, and then the state dropped the nollie pros the charges, which does not mean that the case is over as to him. It just means at that point in time that they didn't feel like they were ready to go to trial. Probably felt that they were lacking some critical evidence. And that case still remains open. But as far as Suzanne, her husband, Brad, was charged. Similar scenarios. Simpson and Walsh cases are very, very similar in kind of the fact pattern. They're eerily similar in both of them. And as far as Walsh goes, obviously, if you've been following the Karen Reed case and you've been following Canton PD and Judge Cannoni, same courthouse, same judge. Now she has dipped. He has a new judge who he will be in front of today. And the defense, on behalf of their client, has filed a pretty happy to be back, Marissa, and we're happy that you're back with us. Thank you. It's a pretty lengthy discovery motion. I think Dizzy sent it to me. I think I'm going to look for it if we end up taking this break here. If anybody can substantiate what Baker's telling me, that would be very helpful. This was like Mandy's like, oh shit, this trial that I thought that we should cover starting in 7 minutes. I'm like, oh my God. All right, I'm going to go in. I'm going to change the time. I'm going to pull this thing up. I'm going to get ready. We're going to go live. So I didn't have any prep time for this trial. So I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't be crushed if this thing's not starting right now. So that would actually work in our favor. So that would allow me to make sure, because I want to dig up the discovery motion if I can on the Walsh case, because what they're doing is, as you can imagine, considering it was Canton and Massachusetts State's Police and one Michael Proctor was a lead investigator in the Walsh case. And obviously, if you followed Karen Reed, He had his greasy fingerprints all over that case, and we know all about him, right? So, and also with Sandra Birchmore. So there's a lot of incestuous things going on in that area up there with law enforcement and these cases that we're following so closely. And the defense wants to see what's what. They want to dig in. They want to dig in Reed style into Proctor to see what was going on with this dude. I think in this case, and I'm talking about Ana Walshe's case, I think they're barking up the wrong tree. I look, you guys, we're defense lawyers, we're Defense Diaries podcast. I think they got the right guy in that case. Like that is something that is one of those cases to me that leans heavy guilty. Leans heavy guilty. So, oh, Cat, I love that. I love that. The Gacy episodes, the Gacy season, the Gacy tapes that was my passion project. I recommend everybody listens to the Gacy tapes. It's even if you think that you don't want to hear anything about Gacy, it's really not about Gacy. It's really about a lot of different things, primarily the victims, the investigation, the arrest, and the trial. So I covered it much differently than anybody else has ever done. And obviously my dad was the lawyer for Gacy. So there's that interesting part of it. And he gave me all his taped interviews preparing Gacy for trial. So those things all exist. I mean, we incorporated those into season. So you'll hear a lot of my father interviewing Gacy, preparing him for his death penalty, or not death penalty at that point. Yeah, it was death penalty, but it was insanity defense case. So I'm really proud of it. I think it's a great podcast. Which reminds me, because of my my position in terms of being a defense attorney, and because of the Delphi case, and because there's creators out there who I will not name here that have besmirched my good name, have misconstrued what I've been saying for the last 2 years about Richard Allen's case. I've had a bunch of people go on to our podcast on Apple and Spotify and give us 1-star reviews, having never listened to it. So I'm doing a call to action again today. I looked at it as I was driving to Arkansas over the weekend. If you guys would be so kind as to go over there and offset it and just give it 5-star reviews, especially if you've listened to it. If you've listened to it, it's super easy. It's free. You can just hit that 5 stars, because it drove our rating down, and it was not warranted. Like, oh, all right, something's popping up here. Let's check it out. So I'm like, if you guys could do that, that would be amazing. Garcia, there's the new Garcia's in the can. Been in Darren's hands since Thursday, so actually Wednesday. So it should be coming out any day. All right, Mandy, I'm gonna pull the screen up. So I want you to see if you can put on the proper thing that blocks that thing down there. If you can figure it out. We'll see. We'll see if Mandy's up to the challenge. Oh my God, is that true? So the defendant's mother also killed a firefighter while driving drunk in New Jersey. Jesus. Wow. Really? Don't mess with firefighters. As y'all know, my son's a firefighter. I don't, come on now. All right. So we have movement. Thanks, Great Dane. Yeah, and if you've listened to it and you love it, write a review. It's super helpful. Spotify and Apple are the two that really matter most. Thank you, Sheila. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, right. Exactly, Jennifer. The apple does not fall far from the tree, apparently. I mean, did mom go to prison? I mean, that would maybe partially explain what's going on. Oh, thanks, BitBite. Appreciate you. Oh, you didn't hear that? So Marlo says she didn't hear that she was intoxicated. Huh. Somebody do some digging. Oh, she was not charged in the matter. Oh my God, really? Huh. All right, so she was not intoxicated. Just a really bad driver? Texting? She texting? Wait, when was that? It was probably pre-cell phone? Post-cell phone? Not now you guys have me fascinated about that aspect of this. Huh. It's interesting. Nicola, I am going to definitely cover Zachariah's case. I really am. I'm trying to get Garcia done. I have to get that season done, and I'm getting close. I'm getting close to trial on that. That's my second season of my podcast. I have to get that done before I commit to anything else. Because between the YouTube and my podcast, it's like I've just got to focus on finishing that out. And I've got really exciting news coming out. Project I've been working on with Lauren Pachenko is dropping with iHeartRadio, is dropping in January. When I have the go ahead to let you guys know about that, I will. I've talked a little bit about it, but I've heard the first 3 episodes, and we think it's going to be a hell of a podcast. So straight podcast. But as you guys know, if you're subs over here, you'll see that we've now all of our podcast episodes are in our YouTube channel as well. There's no video. I think in the first couple there's video, like Darren did some messing around, but put some pictures up, some fun little things. But all of the episodes are traditional, just audio podcast episodes are now on YouTube as well. So, and it's a good thing, like if you're cleaning or driving, and you shouldn't be watching YouTube anyway if you're driving, they're great to listen to while you're driving. Like, and it's a different format than this. Like our docket stuff, which is Allie and I, that is us bantering, talking about all the current cases. Gacy and Garcia are serialized. They're like, I consider them to really be kind of like audiobooks, except better because we interview people. There's audio in there. Aw, who's that guy? Is that sweet guy, the judge? Happy face judge there, huh? All right, so we'll keep an eye out on this. All right. Let me see. All right. Oh, you guys are going to be pissed. Those of you who are not on premium are about to get bombarded with the ads. Sorry. I got to put it on. Got to make a living. Remember, I quit practicing law. Like, this is my source of income these days. So, and it was a big difference to do this from leaving the law practice to doing this. All right, so I'm going to put it as balance. So the way YouTube works, the ads, is they've got aggressive, which is higher earning potential, more interrupted viewer experience, which I don't want. So I don't do it. And then balanced, which is medium earning potentials, balanced viewer experience. So I know it sucks, you guys. Like I hate commercials myself. I truly do. I haven't watched a commercial, honestly, other than a sporting event since I got TiVo. I don't know, in like early 2000. So I get it. So I apologize in advance. However, it's a necessary evil. All right, so that's in there, y'all. And you can be mad at me. I'll take it. All right. Yeah. I think Murder Sheet did. I think, they went in. It's ridiculous. Like I would never mess with somebody's livelihood like that because we disagree on something, it's so low rent. Like I just can't even contemplate it. Oh, thank you guys. 2013 for Jamie's mom's accident. Okay. Apparently not. If you read the whole story, it was accidental. Okay, thank you, Doreen. Mom wasn't drunk. There was no charge. It was a wind smoke issue. And okay, all right, okay. So that's a legitimate excuse. I mean, we don't want to be charging people. Oh, she ignored the flashing truck lights and police. I mean, they must not have thought that there was enough there to charge her, though. You know, especially when you're talking about a first responder losing their lives. It would be, I'm sure the state was really looking at it very, very hard. I have Jamie. Jamie asked if I've spoken to Kathy. She's hanging in there. Alan's hanging in there. He hasn't been moved yet. So, thank you, Darlene. Appreciate you so much. You guys don't understand how much of an impact that has. It's such an important thing. Oh, Sinead, you're awesome. Thank you. Thank you. It's the thought that counts. It's the thought that counts. And thank you for doing it initially. Thank you, Who's Your Girl? Appreciate you. Like, those things really, really mean a lot. Those little ratings. Leslie, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You're the best. You guys are the best. Truly. So grateful to you guys. So I missed you guys. I have to say, I was contemplating. Oh, Emily, tell me when. You know, number one, you have a place to stay, obviously, if you want to stay 45 minutes out of the city. But you've got a room with us. You know that always. Emily is a dear friend, an amazing artist. She is a singer-songwriter. Deep from the you know, I'd say the best comparisons is she's like I guess I'd have to say the love child of Susan Tedeschi. And then I think probably who would you say your ride or die? We spent who would you compare yourself to? Like, let me do it without me throwing it out there. I already threw out Susan, but there's two artists that Emily is a mixture of, who, if you love their music, you will absolutely love Emily Clark. She is an amazing artist and just an amazing human being. So sweet, super talented. Well, Mandy, if you love Susan Tedeschi, you're going to love Emily Clark. And she's out there. She's on the YouTubes. Janine, welcome. Aw, family hug. Love it. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting the feeling there's not, like, there's definitely some other stuff going on. But you guys know, I mean, when trials are starting, there's a lot of moving parts at the beginning of a trial. Let's see. So Cammie says, if you sign up for YouTube Premium through Apple, it's $5 more, and then sign up to. Okay. So Cammie, you're saying it's better to sign up through. Let's see. All right. You're being modest. I told you you're like, you have to tell, I've said this before. Your voice is the love child of which two artists that you love and adore? You know it. I know it. We all know it. Just throw it in the chat. Don't be shy. I'm putting you on blast, girl. I'm putting you on blast. And if you're in the New York area, Emily currently resides there, and she has a lot of shows that pop up. So, throw some links in here. Aw, there she is.
Why are you in a circle?
Oh, hi. What's up, girl?
What's up, babe?
How you?
Good. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we need the thing that blocks the LNC down there in the lower left-hand corner, Mandy.
We just have to switch the...
Yeah, let me see if I can figure out which. I can never figure out which one it is. Oh, I think it's this one, maybe. Boop. Close.
Yep.
Close. It's pretty close. What's this guy?
You look so
look at that.
dapper as an AI.
I do. So do you.
I know.
that green suit you're wearing, that's pretty fire, dude. Yeah, I think this is the best one. Yeah, I think we should be able to adjust this somehow. Like, it usually covers that. I don't know, like, completely. Mandy, do things.
Mandy, do things.
Do things. I don't know. I don't understand it. All right, babe. So,
no, that's worse.
That is worse.
Did you do that?
I did not. That was Mandy doing.
Mandy's trying. She's doing things.
Oh, right. Mandy's texting me. All right, she's spamming me with text. Oh, she did. She sent me a bunch of stuff.
You move this microphone up and you tighten it so much, I can't loosen it. It's crazy.
Okay, let's see.
Whatever.
Okay, so Mandy sent me a bunch of shit. She was busy behind the scenes. All right. So this is interesting. All right, let me...
More interesting than looking at this empty bench.
That's super interesting. I don't know what you mean. It's a very attractive courtroom. You got your classic judges panels there all over the place.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I like the cream and beige look, though. I'm more of a... I like the...
They're white. They're doing white. Oh, you mean of the courtroom? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, what were you talking about?
What were you talking? Everyone in the courtroom's wearing blue and white. All the lawyers. Blue suits, white shirts.
Contrary, Mary, that is a damn good question. That's what we're waiting to see. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Mandy sent me the affidavit for this case.
Well, what? Oh, I was just going to ask, what's it about?
So it's a tragic tale, honey. Newlyweds, wedding night, are cruising after, I'm assuming after the reception, are in a golf cart cruising back probably to go seal the deal on their wedding night. And the defendant here with a BAC of 0.268 going 65 miles an hour plows into the golf cart, ending...
What?
Yes.
Oh, I thought that like the couple was drunk.
No. Oh. Well, I'm sure they were, but I mean, maybe that's the defense here. I mean, they're coming back, but it's hard when it's your wedding night to get drunk because you're working the room. You're really, you're not sitting there getting hammered. It's like a big night.
It's not hard for that many. She was going, Free Radical says 65. And it's
that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said. That was like, that's facts. It's facts.
I don't think there is a defense.
Well, unless they were intoxicated driving the golf cart. I don't know.
Still, you can't go 60 and a 20.
I mean, they took
it to trial. Okay, M71, man, baby, it sounds like you get it all wrong. They were on the back of a golf cart, not driving.
Oh, God, it's getting worse. All right, so's
your fact checking.
Yeah, my fact checking sucks right now. All right, so
M71. That's what happens when you just hop on something all.
Here's what I'm going to do. All right, y'all keep an eye on what's going on with that. I'm going to share the affidavit and we'll get the facts right. As you know, we are just facts over here. So let's see what the actual facts are instead of me reading a article.
To be.
All right. So she was charged back on April 29th of 2023.
April 29th.
It looks like the description of the offense was reckless vehicular homicide. So on 4/28 of 2023, at 2016 hours, make this a little bigger for y'all, I responded to the 1200 block of East Ashley in reference to a vehicle accident with injuries. Upon arrival, I observed a large crash scene with a golf cart on its side up against a gray Toyota Camry bearing Nevada tag TUD 6299. Sounds like that was a rental, maybe. Why would she have a Nevada tag? This is South Carolina. I observed multiple victims who were laying throughout the crash site. Oh, God, sounds awful. I established command and started to relay scene information as far as the number of patients, etc. As I triaged all patients, I located Samantha Hutchinson, who was not breathing and no pulse. I also located Garrett and Eric Hutchinson. All patients were in and out of consciousness, I'm assuming. So I focused on life-saving measures on Samantha Hutchinson, but she was pronounced deceased on the scene. Once all medical care was rendered, which was also rendered to Jamie, who did not have any injuries. Isn't that how it always is? Isn't that how it always seems to be? I switched hats and started the DUI investigation with the driver, Jamie Komoroski. As I made contact with Jamie, I smelled an odor of alcohol coming from her breath and person. I asked Jamie if she had anything to drink, and she stated that she had had one beer and a drink with tequila about an hour ago. I then asked, on a scale of 1 from being completely sober and 10 being completely shit-faced, she stated that she was an 8. Wow.
What? Oof.
It should be noted that she stated on scene that she was the one who was driving the listed vehicle. Officer Honeycutt overheard this as well. Also, her ID was recovered from Jamie's purse, which was located in the vehicle. Based on the above facts, I requested that Jamie complete field sobriety tests, which she strongly refused and became uncooperative on the scene. Also, when Jamie stood up, she was very unsteady on her feet and almost fell down, and I had to help her stand.
Well, she did just get in an accident.
Well, it sounds like
clearly she's an 8.
She's an 8.
Right. I'm just saying that's something that a lawyer can use.
Yeah. She was then placed in handcuffs and transported to headquarters BA room by Officer Honeycutt. Once I got to headquarters, I started the 20-minute observation and read Jamie her implied consent rights, which she was also given a copy to read along. After the observation phase was complete, Jamie refused to provide a breath sample, and her SCDL was seized and attached to, that's the South Carolina driver's license, was seized and attached to the suspension form.
My perfectly shapen head is blocking some of the words.
Oh boy. Oh, okay, hold on.
No, you don't need to move it. I'm just kidding. Move on.
Hold on. Okay,
no, you scroll. When you scroll up, it's not blocking it anymore.
Oh, it's not? I think it's still going to keep blocking
below
words.
It.
All right, here. Boop. There you go. We'll switch it back. All right, so a warrant for 2 vials of blood was drafted, and Judge Martell Morris came to headquarters and signed the warrant. Once the warrant was signed, I transported Jamie to the MUSC, where, I'm assuming that's the medical unit, where an RN drew 2 vials of blood, which was placed into a sealed biological specimen kit and was sent to SLED in Columbia for analysis. Jamie was then medically cleared by MUSC, and I transported Jamie to the Charleston County Jail, where she was booked in under suicide watch due to her telling me in the hospital that she wanted to kill herself. MUSC stated that Jamie had no injuries. Jeez. It should be noted that the staff at the MUSC gave me an update and stated that 2 patients Okay.
Well, it
Patients were
says
brought
pertains, but
right,
right.
right, context clue, that they were brought in from the crash scene and had critical injuries, and one might not make it through the night. Based on the above facts, I find PC to charge Jamie Komoroski with 3 counts of felony DUI resulting in great bodily injury and or death pursuant to SC statute 56-05 2945. So this is the felony DUI with death or great bodily injury, 3 counts of that. All right, so we got the same facts there. This looks to be the exact same thing. And then felony DUI. All right, so these look to be the exact same on all of these. Let me just kick that up to scrolling. This is doing that thing. All right, so yeah, we don't have anything different in any of the 4 affidavits. All right, so there's that fact.
Why are we so what prompted you to cover this?
Manny thought it'd be a good case to try. Plus, I think it'll be a shorty.
Okay.
Good short trial. But what we're gonna do,
Yeah, I heard you. I heard
yeah.
you from upstairs.
Okay. All right. So let me see if this is a little bit different, has additional facts. I'm gonna send myself the
Lauren says, Bob, listen to her jail calls. Oh, that sounds interesting. Sounds juicy.
who, Jamie? Jamie's jail calls?
I don't think it's one of the patients.
You're talking about the defendant? Were you being
Yeah.
snarky with me right there?
Between Jamie and her dad.
Were you kicking me down with a little snark? A little of the
She says they're nauseating.
Are they when she's hammered?
I guess we shall hear. Shan't we? Shan't we? Shan't we?
I mean, feel free to make up words all you want. I'm here for it.
Okay.
All right.
I'm glad.
You know I love you, babe. All right,
Yes.
let's see. All right, I'm gonna pull this puppy up.
I was trying to think of something to say, but I couldn't remember that word from last night.
All right.
That you were schmalgiggling or something.
We're not gonna have that conversation.
No, I was just gonna throw it out there for an inside joke.
Schmooby?
A schmooby.
Movie,
You're
right.
my schmooby.
Schmooby. Schmoobster. All right, let's see. Okay, let's go. Oh, you know what you could do while I'm doing this?
Hmm.
Can you go actually, never mind.
She calls her dad Daddy-O. How old is this woman?
I don't know. She doesn't look that old. She does not look that old. Phone in view. So let me pull this
So
up.
no, she's not drunk, but they're creepy, horrible calls, it sounds like. Is that John Bon Jovi?
Where?
Pretty radical.
John Bon Jovi.
I don't know. I mean, my eyes aren't the greatest, but
Where?
rocks and free radical.
Oh.
Oh, now there's gorgeous.
Dad tells Jamie this happened to her because bad things happen to good people. Wow. Yeah. That's why that happened.
You want me to look for the calls? Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, I was going to see if you could try to find those calls, see if that was a possibility.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to pull this puppy up, but in the interim, I'm also going to keep an eye on les sentencing of les Sarah Boone. Remember when she got that offer for 15 years? Oof.
Yeah.
Woo. Oopsies. Oopsies. Oh, this is who we're going to watch. Oh.
I see one but it's on TikTok. How come I can't only find this stuff on TikTok?
Our homies over at Trial TV Live. I think that's where we'll stream it.
Well, everything about this case is on TikTok.
So they've got some stuff going on over here.
Oh, this is a different. Is this the right person? What am I looking at here? How do you spell her last name?
Oh, they're I think they're down there. I think our homies down at Live Trial TV are down at Sarah Boone's thing. That's cool. I like that. Oh, there's legacy media ignoring our friends like they do. Oh, you're YouTubers. Oh, heck yeah.
Friends.
Oh, so that's how it works. This is some behind the scenes shit. Oh, that's cool. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Hold on, I'm gonna show you. It's pretty neat.
Allie, Meg posted a link. Let's see if I found that.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. It's pretty neat. They're gonna live stream it. Let's see. Oh, such a big yawns.
Oh, there it is. What do I do with that?
Oh, I'm pulling it up. Hold on. All right, so this is from over at our friends at Trial TV Live. Make sure you guys are subbing over there.
I don't know what to do with that.
We love them. All right. So they're see that little package there? They're actually live streaming it themselves, which is awesome. Just awesome. So make sure you're going over there and sub. Can we drop them over there? Let's drop them in the chat so we can get them some love.
I don't know how to click on a link that's in the chat.
Huh?
Clearly, I'm just as bad at technology as you are, I guess.
I mean, that's true.
Like,
I mean, is it possible you're worse? Maybe you're worse.
Doubtful. We know that it's not true.
You're so funny. You're such a funny girl. Yeah, that's what we have up here.
Oh,
we've got this is them. Actually, this is their behind the scenes stuff.
Guys.
Oh, thank you, Kai. Thank you, Kai. Make sure you guys are going over there and subbing.
I'm talking to Top Mark Media, letting them know that we're up and running. And hopefully.
That's a nice sound. That's Pleasant Bay. Hey, Bay.
What?
What's up?
Maybe you could mute it.
Okay.
All right, guys. The feed should be kicking in.
All right. I'll pause it. I don't know how to mute. Oh, yeah, I can mute it. All right.
Well, I only wanted to mute it because it was doing that beeping. I don't know how we're going to know when it's done doing it. But between Meg and Mandy, I got sent those calls whenever you're ready.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How long are they? Let's see. All right, I'm keeping an eye. That's still quiet over there. So.
Oh. I don't know, because it's part of a larger story. So I got to get to the jail call part. Oh, you're. All right, let me just open it up.
Oh. Get rid of that one.
All right, try the sound. Maybe the beeping's done.
Okay. It is indeed. It is indeed.
Yep.
There it is. So there you go, guys. Just got a little behind the scenes peek at how it all works. Here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to take you with me for a second here. Check it out. Now that nobody's. All right. It's kind of cleared out a little bit here. So
see, this is cool. This is how they do it. So if you're ever wondering how they get the feed, and, that's the machine.
Looks like the feed dropped. But anyway, so everybody plugs in here.
It's cool. Oh, what's going on?
Let's see. Oh,
Oh,
one more.
hold on. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pause that for a couple minutes. We're going to switch back over. We'll see what's going on in this trial. We'll jump back and forth, y'all.
Well, I kind of wanted to listen to those calls before we did.
Well, the judge just took the bench.
Okay. Well, but then we would have some blipping and blooping.
Blooping.
Yeah, some blooping.
Is there some way we can make this thing a little bigger?
This is State versus 2023 GS 103982 felony DUI with death.
Oh, 40 hours of calls?
No, not with the dad. I wouldn't think. Oh yeah, there's a lot of jail calls.
Oh boy. Sound is horrible.
2023 GS 103984 felony DUI great bodily injury as indicted.
Crank it.
That is crank.
No, I mean like the boost.
I did. That's the boost.
Oh. I thought you were going to.
Are there any recommendations? Well, first, who's appearing on behalf of the state?
Timothy Finch on behalf of the state, Your Honor.
I wouldn't be surprised if she pled out right now.
Is there anyone else who will be assisting you in the presentation of this case?
Not the presentation of the case. Then the secret help in the preparation of the case.
And Ms. Wilson is present as well. Correct.
Is it super loud for y'all?
Who's appearing on behalf of the defense?
Can't possibly be. Is that what they're saying?
I don't know. People are like, ouch.
Maybe you.
Oh, me. Oh.
Speak up louder.
Oh.
We're not, I know you soft spoken, but if you can speak up a little bit more loud, a little bit
Yeah, no one can hear anything.
I know you. Nathan Williams, and who did you say would be assisting you? Chris Gravicioni. And how's Chris spelled?
Yeah.
Your Honor, and your last name, sir.
I'll turn mine down too.
All right, hold on.
I'm turning mine down too.
Let me pull it back up.
All right, turn mine down. Is that?
Have you explained to your client?
Can't hear shit.
Can you guys hear it now?
You're still loud.
I'm still loud.
Well, you're whispering.
Mr. Williams, have you explained to your client the charge, the punishment for rights? I have. Do you believe she understands the charges, the punishment for rights? I do. Does she wish to plead guilty?
They can't hear it even without us.
That decision? I do. Has she ever been evaluated to determine her competency? Yes, Dr. Have you explained to her the violent and serious classification? I have. And have you also explained to her the collateral consequences of these offenses?
Does she know all the collateral consequences of her actions in the
All right,
trial
hold on.
text?
I'm gonna crank this down so I can talk without blowing people's eardrums out. All right, so can you hear it at all?
You're blowing my eardrums out.
Still?
Oh, it's because I turned my headphones up really loud.
All right, can you hear the court though at all? Because people are saying
I can, but I cranked my volume.
yeah, this could be a problem. I don't know that the sound's gonna like so the way this works, y'all, is like whatever the feed volume is, still super loud.
He's gone. There he is. He's back.
Oopsies. All right, so I shouldn't be super loud now. I turn the boosters down. So the way that it works is that whatever the feed is coming in from the streamer.
Bob is so loud.
I'm still loud?
I don't know. That could be. Am I loud?
All right.
Maybe
what about-
everybody else turned their sound up, and that's why they think we're so loud.
yeah, maybe crank it down. Like if you guys cranked it up, now crank it down.
I can hear you both loud and clear, but the sound from the courtroom, right? Well, the courtroom's off right now. That's why. Because it's
All
not
right.
working good.
So here's the deal. I don't know that the sound's ever going to get any better. Like
Nope.
she's got a mic there. And I had that boosted all the way up, which is why it also boosts me up. So it boosts the screen I'm sharing up as well as my mic. So I don't know. Do we stream this thing? I mean, is this thing anywhere else?
Yeah, that's what Dom's mom just asked. Court TV.
I'll check. See if I can
He
find it.
has a browser booster.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you guys. I'm putting the browser booster. I have 2 sound boosters, and they were all the way up. All the way up.
Someone says, I think she pleaded.
What?
That's why the judge is asking if she knows all the collateral consequences and stuff. So, I don't know, because I think we're on a delay because people are like,
And he's gone.
Right, that was when you disappeared.
Right. Which I'm prone to do. All right, let me see. I'll check Court TV, see what they got going on. Nah, Court TV's not doing it. They're just doing the Boone.
All right, well, thank people for joining us, and we will see them all later. Just kidding.
No, I mean, Boone's coming up. Boone's coming up. Like now.
Well, I mean, now we might as well listen to at least one crazy call.
All right, throw it up.
Uh,
I'm going to keep an eye on this thing and see what the heck's going on with it.
Let's see. Oh, breaking news. Jamie is pleading guilty in the killing of a bride on her wedding night by driving drunk and plowing into a golf cart carrying Samantha Miller. The trial was supposed to start today. She is taking a plea.
Okay, good. So I called that, didn't I?
You sure did.
Sure did.
You sure did, sir. All right, so I'll share this. I don't know how good it's going to be, but here we go. If I remember how to do this. There we go.
Yeah, she's definitely pleading guilty. I'm watching it. Called it. Yeah, I mean, like what was the... There's no defense. Gonna waste the court's time. Oh,
Trial tax.
Is that her daddy? Daddy? Daddy?
I don't know why this had to happen to me. Because bad things happen to good people, honey.
Jamie was released on a $150,000 bond. Under the
such have a present judge has sent me. It's can judge will also have been that and a warning said so I'm up to you with but I result into restrictions excellent counsel use and some calls certainly family but
can you find one that's not with
so let's start with her phone call from May 9th, 2023.
I just can't wait to get out of here.
Oh, listen, you know,
is Mom going to come live with me in South Carolina, or am I going to go to New Jersey?
I'm going to do everything.
You're going to go to prison.
Not me, but our team will call that. It's going to do everything to get you bonded to New Jersey.
But then what about Evan?
Jamie, now's not the time to be worried about Evan.
But I thought maybe Mom could live with me.
No, baby, Mom can't move to South Carolina. And listen, when you talk to her, your mom, you know, first of all, she's very upset that she missed your call.
Okay.
And you should call her when we're done.
Okay.
But think of it this way. Mom moving to South Carolina would be a huge break in her life. You're talking about her selling her home, quitting her job.
I thought that maybe CJ would just take care of the house. So I'll go to New Jersey. It's okay. I'll go to New Jersey.
Well, put it this way, you know, New Jersey is where it's most stable for you.
Yeah.
And Jamie, nothing for nothing. You kind of, you know, you kind of have to think of what's most important. Yeah, Evan I've been texting Evan and everything. I like Evan a tremendous amount.
I know. I don't want to talk to you about Evan.
Okay. We won't. Okay.
It makes me sad. I loved him.
Well, listen, Jamie, I understand that, but you know, you have to deal with reality, okay?
Yes.
I mean, you know, if first of all, it could be 12 weeks before bond.
Yeah, I know that.
So you have to realize that that's 3 months.
Yeah, or it could be 4.
Or it could be 2. They are trying to get it expedited. And that's why we got these hot-to-trot attorneys on, okay? They are going to try to get you a bond court hearing as soon as possible. They're going to file paperwork. They're going to contact their people that they have relationships with within the county and try to get your bond hearing expedited.
How did you know about the deputy sheriff lady?
Well, what happened is she called me and asked me to call her. At that time was when Chris and Deb gave me a statement to give to anybody that asks about you, a kind of boilerplate. Everybody, I told everybody, your sister, your mother, your brother, your grandma, grandpa, everybody, that if anybody asks about you, that you are only to say, call Jamie's attorney. And I gave the name of the law firm, Kingston Coventry, and Deb and Chris Ramapucci, whatever the Italian name is, I don't even know how to pronounce it. And, you know, and gave the phone number. And I sent that to her. Then she texted, this is all in text, she texted me back that, you know, it wasn't a legal issue. She just wanted to talk to me about family and stuff. Okay? Then what happened was after that, I told Chris what the conversation was. Now, Chris has a relationship with Sheriff Graziano. They know each other. Okay? So I said it to Chris, and I said I would like to call her because I don't want to disrespect this lady. And Chris said she is a really nice person, and he encouraged me to call her. And I spoke to her. So that's how the whole thing happened with Sheriff Graziano.
Okay, that's good.
And she's really nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think
I just feel a little bit better now. I just don't want to, I'm just excited to, get bond and then just keep going after that and take it step by step.
Jamie, you know what? It's just like when somebody has a life-altering issue sitting in their life. You take it not only day by day, you take it hour by hour. Every hour you get through is 1 hour behind you. Every day you get through is 1 day behind you. Every week you get through is 1 week behind you. Don't think too far into the future. You take care of yourself right now for the next hour, 2 hours.
All right, so there's more like that.
So is her father basically excusing her behavior instead of being?
No, I mean, it sounded to me like she was being very sort of self-centered. Like she was obviously worried about herself and worried about her boyfriend and talking about having her mom come move to her instead of her having to relocate to Jersey. And then he's talking about buying, we got these hot to trot lawyers. They're going to file all their stuff. They're going to do all the things. They're going to use their contacts. See, that's why you never have any discussions. I tell people, don't even talk about what we're doing, what you think we're doing, what we're going to do, like just nothing. Don't talk.
Mandy Joe, that is not unusual.
Yeah.
Many, many, many times.
Yeah, the lawyers are waiting until they can get the best offer.
Yeah. Like most plea deals are taking on
Or they were waiting to get the most of the money. Who knows?
Could be.
Hot to trot lawyers. Sounds like they got overpaid to plead her out. Got to earn that money. I'm being sarcastic. That's the.
Yeah, I had.
I know you know.
Distinct impression that she.
And I think Evan's the boyfriend, Mandy. And it does seem, Diane, like she didn't really realize she killed somebody, or at least that wasn't one of the priorities in her mindset. Yes, Kat. She kind of does.
All right, so we're keeping a close eye on the Boonster. And she is... Nothing's going on there yet. All right, here's what I need to do. I need to try to find the Brian Walshe feed. Because I want to pop in on him. You know about that case, babe?
Oh, I was still talking.
Oh.
I forgot that I muted myself. How long had I been talking? How long have I been muted?
You haven't been muted. I heard every word you were saying.
Oh.
I was ignoring you, but I heard it all.
No, but then I was muted. I'm going to run up and get some Tylenol. My back's killing me.
Aw.
Yeah, I think it's the drive and being old.
Do you want to rub down?
Oh, yeah. See you guys later. Come and get me, babe.
Mommy. All right, let's see. All right, I'm trying to find, I want to be able to pivot between Walshe too. So just if you're joining us late, Komoroski's pleading out. I don't know if she's going to get sentenced today. She's at the bench currently. We couldn't hear it anyway, so we're not watching it. So that trial is a no-go. That is a plea deal. And we will obviously pivot when Boone goes live. Trying to see what we've got going on. I know I missed. I know Steins was up. That's Kentucky v. Steins. He's the sheriff who shot the judge. That is going to be one that I am closely going to be following. I know we missed a brief court date. I think he got a rain the other day. So I don't know that we missed too much there. I'm just waiting to start hearing what the other side of that thing is. Yeah. All right, Mandy. Where's Mandy? You're not back here with us anymore? How dare you, madam? Why don't you try to see if you can find Brian Walshe's hearing? I think we're going to have to go a local. I'm looking at NBC Boston 10 to see if they're going to stream it. I don't know if they are. I mean, pre-trials aren't always streamed. I'm very used to a life that existed with no pre-trial stuff being streamed, and now it's like of recent vintage. We've been getting all the pre-trial stuff, which I love. I love it so much. I love it, love it, love it. I used to say all the time, I'm like, man, that's where the war is fought, in the pre-trial motion phase of any case. That's where you're going to hear all the stuff. It's where you're going to hear stuff that the jury won't hear, because they're always arguing about what's going to come in, what's going to stay out. So we'll always know more than a jury, depending on rulings and cases. But truly, if you really love trials, you always want to watch the pretrial stuff, because it's really where you're going to get the most info. It's where you're going to find out what evidence that they have, what's going to be deemed inadmissible or admissible. So it's one of those things where, yeah, I'm not seeing anything either, Kai, for Walshe. I'm trying to check the locals at Salt Lake City. I think most people are streaming Boone. Boone. Sarah's still not going. Oh, they got a feed going in there, though. They have a feed going. Showing the courtroom, at least. Let's see if they've got their feed up. All right, cool. All right, so we'll pull this up while we're waiting. Okay. All right. Let's go. Hope the sound doesn't suck on this, too. Hey, Tracy, can you do me a favor? Because I always like to ask if we can. Can you ask our friends over at Trial TV Live if they're cool with us streaming this off them? If possible. I know you guys have communication with those guys. I always like doing that because it's polite. I like to be polite, if possible. Let's see. All I know is that holy fuck is like one of the greatest screen names I've ever seen. It's awesome. Just awesome. Let's see here. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened to all those Christmas overlays we had. What happened to those, Mandy? Didn't we have a bunch of Christmas overlays last year? What happened to those things? I had like some kind of sweet background. Oh, let's see. I don't know. Yeah, I had a couple of sweet let's see, what is this one? No. Oh, that's an underlay. What, the Christmas backgrounds? What you mean, girl? What you talking about? I don't know what you're saying. I do not know what you're saying. What's up, Joanne? Welcome. We did. We had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving too. It was nice. A lot of driving, long drive. We rented a minivan though. It was nice, which I was supposed to turn in today, but I overslept. Not necessarily wholly. It usually works out to where we typically get the best deal, believe it or not. And it's like plea negotiations are strange in general. Like many times when we get a case, and again, take it out of the purview of like a homicide trial or a homicide case, just like a regular type case, like whether it be assault and battery or a DUI or a drug case. Like typically we will get an offer pretty early on in the process, and the state will say, okay, we're making this offer and you've got X amount of days to accept it or we're pulling it. And then we'll run it by our client. Our client will either say yay or nay, or they'll say try to negotiate it. And we'll go through that process. Ultimately, I have very few clients that end up pleading out early. And so you kind of go through the process. And if that entails, and also part of our job is to make sure, as we tell you guys all the time, is that we have to look and make sure that the cops did their jobs properly. So we're always going to check. We're going to wait until discovery comes in, and we're going to wait and see whether or not we can discover whether we think there's any valid motions to be filed, whether it be motions to quash or suppress or what have you. And at that point, if Allie's like, nah, I don't know, there's something. Allie can usually find something. Doesn't necessarily think, she doesn't necessarily think it's going to be a slam dunk winner, but most of the time she does.
Convince myself of it.
I want to win this. I want to win this motion. So, but like we'll typically, if there are motions to be litigated, she's in the courtroom.
She looks so happy. Look at her.
She's looking super chipper. Super chipper.
Oh,
let's see if she smiles when she gets
so
away.
Bob and I want to make sure everybody knows, like, you can't mitigate at sentencing with something like, well, I was drunk and I didn't mean to, because the jury found it intentional. So the judge is sentencing you as though it's intentional. So I don't know what kind of mitigation they're going to put forth here today.
I mean, do you think that they can kind of lean into the spousal abuse, like the battered spouse thing at all? I mean, that's kind of what they were.
I think that's definitely mitigation to a certain extent, but I don't think it's.
Oh, happy anniversary, Mag! A year.
Wow.
Mag's been fam for a full year. It's amazing. It's amazing. All right, so here he's going through his notes. He's like, this is all I got. This is what I got for you. I mean, this guy
probably should have stopped and started a new stream. He might have more than 274 people here.
Well, we had 500 at one point.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think I could switch here's what I'll do. I'll go back into StreamYard.
So people get like a new notice or something?
No, what I could do, if I re-switch the Mandy, can you switch the thumb back to what you made it originally, where it doesn't have the Komoroski
Nobody's
thing on
gonna
there?
get new notice. I don't know that's gonna do any good, but what do I know about about this here thing you're doing? I am sitting in this non-moving chair.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna switch.
It's less
change the
comfortable.
thumbnail back to Boone. Boop. Boop. All right, I switched it back to Boone. Let's see if that has any effect. Mandy dipped again. She's in and out. She's in and out burger. So there's no sound yet, y'all, in case you're wondering.
Wow, she's really happy. Look at her. Jeez. It's sentencing day.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a range, obviously. State's asking for life.
What? They are?
That's what I read.
Oh, I think she's getting 40 to 60. At least.
I mean,
she could get life.
60 would be life if it's truth in sentencing, which down in Florida, I think it is. Because truth in sentencing, you end up doing 85% of your time.
Well, it depends on their sentencing.
Why don't you look it up? See what's up. Oh, maybe. Maybe she did. She's got a new gal pal in there in the joint. Hopefully she doesn't get too cozy because she's not going to be in the county jail for much longer. She's going to be in prison. It's going to be in the joint, the big joint, the house of pain. Yeah, they'll always file a motion for, like, so just so you guys understand, there will never be a case that you see. I shouldn't say never, but if you intend on appealing, you're always going to ask for a new trial. There's always going to be that motion that's filed.
Well, Indiana had some some laws. They didn't need to file a post-trial motion to preserve.
Yeah, and they called it something different. It's a motion for errors.
Right, but they don't need to file it.
Yeah, they don't need. It's not a prerequisite.
In Illinois, you've got to file your post-trial motion, or with all of your issues, and then you also have to file a motion to reconsider sentence if you intend to appeal a sentence, or they're waived. So it's just stupid. Make you do all this like extra work for no reason.
That is stupid. I'll be right back.
But the courts, in theory, they think, well, you've got to give the lower chance a court to like make it right. You got to give them that chance. If you don't tell them like, hey, you screwed up, do it right this way, then you don't get to complain to us about it because they might have fixed it. Yeah, okay. Yep. Mountain Girl. Colorado Mountain Girl. We know she took a plea. Yep.
Yeah, that's not at all surprising.
Did you switch
so
the
I was
thumbnail?
starting to explain, babe, how like plea deals are often, I was kind of going through the process of like the plea negotiations and how the state will make an initial offer. Typically our clients don't take it. Typically we're obviously going to wait until discovery comes in. We're going to review it and see if there's any motions to file, and then just kind of go through the process. And many times they'll offer something again. And typically we get the best offer right on the eve of trial. I mean,
well, sometimes not too.
Sometimes not.
They get all ready. Yeah, your thumbnail's still the bride. Can you fix that, babe?
It is? Hold on. I think
Jennifer says.
I have to switch that straight up at YouTube.
I think you go in, create a new one, port us all over. That's my suggestion. So we're not talking to 260 people. I love all 260 of you, though.
Yeah, why do you have to be persnickety? 260 is a nice crowd on a Monday morning, Monday afternoon.
Oh, we got sound.
Yeah, we got sound. I'm not doing it.
You don't have to.
About it. I ain't sweating it.
Bob's not sweating it, Mandy. All right.
I'm not sweating it. We're not doing that. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Let me go in here, do a little edit poo.
And Jamie, yeah, if you look at the jail tell you how to add money to someone's commissary or what the rules are for books. I don't know about a subscription to a newspaper, but most prisons, they're all going to make you send books directly from like either Barnes and Noble or like very, very limited places. They've got to come wrapped. So you don't get LSD laced pages in your books.
Acid books. There, I switched it. Did it. Mandy made the one with the awesome pouty face. Oh, I'm such a sad Sarah Boone. That one. It's a good one. Yeah, it looks like she did get her butter whipped. Spends a lot of time in the prison hair cuttery. Is that what the equivalent is? I wouldn't want to call it a salon per se.
Hair cuttery. I mean, you just insulted everyone who gets their hair cut at the hair cuttery.
Yeah, you can add money to people's commissary, Jamie. You just have to reach out to the jail.
I answered her that.
Oh.
I don't know what you were doing.
Why is it still up?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was probably walking around, plugging in my keyboard.
You've got zero border. I don't even know who we are right now.
Oh.
Do I know you? Who are you?
I've never seen you before in my entire life, lady.
You are pretty sexy, though. I'd like to know you.
Ditto. Let's see. Oh, that's Delphi. No. Delphi. No.
Well, I'm going to get PTSD.
Go. There we go. That's a good one. Mandy, I'm putting in an official request for some Christmas overlays. Even though Christmas has officially been ruined in my house.
Oh my God! You know what? You better go. You better actually go off, get Buddy, and put him somewhere before your kid gets home from school.
What? We had a very tragic holiday last year.
Stop. Go.
Daddy's whole Christmas dreams were shattered. Oh, so sad. So sad.
You really should, though, not forget, because the kids were disappointed.
I mean, why do I have to move the elf? No one thinks it's real anymore.
Okay, but they still like the whole thing.
I hated moving the elf. It was a big, giant pain in the ass.
At least put him out. What are you talking about? You set up whole little cities. You think you're going to have to do that still.
Well, setting up, like, making the house Christmassy is a different thing. Like, I'll still do that, obviously. But
no, I'm saying that you made whole little things where the buddy was. Yeah.
I like to try to get creative. Some of the elf shit that I'd see online was next level. Amazing.
Go get Scout's elf right now.
We bought it. We got a second elf at some point, and it was Buddy's cousin.
He thought she wasn't gonna notice.
Buddy's cousin. What did we name him?
I forget. No, it was because he had that burn on his leg that we tried to swap him out.
He got a burn.
He noticed right away, so we had to bring him back.
Trying to explain the burn on the elf that's magically going back to the North Pole every night is tough. It's tough.
Well, he could have hit a star.
I mean, he did. He grazed a star.
That should have been what we went with the whole time.
He grazed the star.
I thought about that just now. Grazed the star.
Oh, you know what I'm setting up? I'm setting up a members only live where I'm going to force y'all to listen to Scout and I's performance of Mark Twain's A Letter to Santa, which is podcast only.
A letter from Santa, isn't it?
Oh yeah, A Letter from Santa, right. Scout did. That was her first podcast performance. We think you guys will like it. It's good. We listened to it on the ride home. I like to listen. It gets me in the mood. Gets me in the mood for the season. If you've never listened to it, it's buried deep.
You're gonna repost it.
Yeah, I'm gonna repost it, but I'm gonna do a live here where we listen to it.
Oh, together?
Yeah, with the members.
Huh.
Thanks, Sheila. I think my Santa voice should become the standard for all Santa voices.
I mean, for real.
Like, I don't think
never
that
heard a
people
better one.
realize that that's me.
I think it was Santa. You're telling me that wasn't Santa?
I mean, sounds like if I were ever to have a conversation with Santa, I imagine he would sound exactly like that.
I think what happened to the elf was it sat too close to one of the lights.
The guy. All right, I'll go get Buddy. I'm gonna go get Buddy right now.
He's in the safe. Huh.
What does that tell you? That we keep the elf on the shelf in our safe? That's insane. To me, that concept is insane.
Why? We can't have the kids see it.
It's insane. Like who would have ever thought 15 years ago that like one of the things that people would put in their safes are a $15 stuffed animal that's allegedly supposed to fly back to the North Pole every night and tell Santa all the dirty secrets of the children.
And we also hid all the other Santa stuff because we had like one year he left his glasses, he left a scuff mark.
Well, that was Santa
Right.
proper.
Santa.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right, hold on.
Nah, the kids never go back. If they don't happen to be walking around while we're talking, they're not hearing it. Bob thinks he doesn't need to move the elf anymore because Scarlett doesn't believe in Santa. Yes, Shiraz, it's true. I mean, there was a lot of work to keep it going. I guess Bob thought we could keep it going until she was 14. I mean, I'm sure she Googled some stuff.
Yeah, the internet ruined Christmas. There's no question about that. All right, so here's Buddy. I've got him with tweezers because, you can't touch him. Otherwise, he'll lose his Christmas magic. So here you can see his horrific injury. There's a terrible injury. Oh, my God, poor Buddy. It looks like a cigarette burn.
I know.
Wow.
The other one's hands aren't clasped together anymore.
Yeah, that's true. What a guy. What a guy. This Buddy's, how old's this Buddy? Like, we started Buddy
as soon as the elves came out. Yeah.
He predates Scarlett.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was
Cameron's.
Yeah, he was Cam's.
His sister's got the mensch on the bench.
The mensch on the bench. Yeah. Old Buddy. What a guy. I forget what we named the other dude.
It was like Candy Cane Ike.
Candy Cane Ike. Good job, babe. Good job.
Wow, that perimenopause brain. Maybe it's going away.
Maybe. I mean, hold on.
Shit, it's real.
So where should I put this thing? See, he's got
Put him in Scarlett's room. It's the first time that's where he always starts.
All right.
Plus the tree's not up. We gotta get to work, actually.
Ugh, so much work.
I mean, it's late. It's December 2nd. Oh, he's gone. Oh, I'm sure that our kids will have elves on the shelf. That's for sure. But he's seen some shit. That's true too. Oh my Lord. But he's definitely seen some shit. Oh, one time I had to I literally threw myself under the bus for something for Buddy. I can't remember what it was. It was like I did something wrong. I think I told the kids that I can't remember what it was. And I had to write a letter to Santa apologizing. Oh, I think I got caught touching Buddy or something. Or Scarlett had already come down and Buddy wasn't there. And then I ran up and Buddy was moved. I got caught. And there was crying. I had to write Santa a letter.
Yeah, I mean the Buddy not moving nights were trying to come up with some kind of story as to why Buddy may not have moved. We're always very traumatic.
Oh, there was I think it was like I stayed up working really late so Buddy couldn't move. Maybe that was what it was.
There were multiple occasions over the years where Buddy didn't move. I mean, for the most part, he moved. I'd say 95%, maybe 96, 97.
Yeah, I'd
Switch it
say
to law and crime.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, ma'am. All right, let me see what's up. Okay, law and crime. Boop.
There's no sound there either.
I don't think. Let's see.
Unless you have the sound turned down.
I don't.
You gotta
I'll pull it off and put it back up though. Full
You gotta
screen.
fix all this then.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, hold on. I'm gonna pull it down and pull it up just in case. Sometimes it sounds.
Oh, Mandy had a real picture of her now?
Who?
Mandy. Wasn't she a cartoon before?
Wait, real picture of who?
Like as her little icon.
Who? The Boonster?
No.
Oh.
Mandy Joe.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, I think she went rock and roll Mandy. That's what she decided to do. She's like, it's time for rock and roll Mandy. That's what's going on now. She looks cool as hell in that picture.
Yep.
All right. Like, I don't know. Like, is there a way to shift this thing just a hair? I mean, I think it's fine. I don't know. What do I know?
That's fine.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. I was a habitual overpayer with the Tooth Fairy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, can we floof your hair a bit, babe?
In real life? Or
Cool lady, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. I'll get him a little Band-Aid. Poor Buddy. I've placed him. He's now in his position in Scarlett's room. I mean, look, the reality is it's just a behavior modification tool, really, when you get down to brass tacks.
Yes,
because that's always the threat. Oh, you're acting like a jerk off? Well, you just got one more X mark on your list, and you're one step closer to getting coal.
You're someone's always watching, and then they're double checking. Double checker's always watching.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. Allie was always very like when did you bust out on the Tooth Fairy concept?
I was like dogging everyone that wasn't Santa. There was one magic, only one true magic. I can't tell you shit about any sort of bunny or any sort of fairy, but I can tell you there's one real magic in this world.
Yeah. I was with it. But the problem is, like, once you do a tooth fairy thing,
Yeah, I mean,
you're like stuck in it.
we did it. And then when she asked me about it, like, is there like a tooth fairy? I'm like,
You're like, do you think there's a fairy that's like flying around, like picking up people's old ass teeth? Like, seriously?
there's one true magic. You know what it is.
All right, I'm gonna boost here.
It's the mensch on the bench.
All right, I wanna see what it's like without the boosting cranked because I become so loud.
But you have to just undo your thingy and move it down.
Where do I do that?
Settings.
Oh,
Take off the automatic adjusting. He's always good about his voice.
Kranich good. He made a face right there.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah's lawyer almost said some stupid shit. He's like, what? This guy.
Why isn't my shit booted up? Yeah. It's a real lag. Real lag.
All right, I cranked my mic way down for right now. Can you hear me? Hello.
You are down.
Can you hear me though?
Yep.
All right, good. Because I did boost it.
Oh, well then I got to
Say
turn
something,
myself down.
Kranich. He's
Can you hear
ready to
me?
put this. I can hear you perfectly.
There's some teeth in the
It's nothing like
In the
finding a
safe,
bag of your
too.
kid's old teeth.
and in the back of my underwear drawer somewhere.
Yeah.
See? Wow. Bob.
Calling state of Florida versus Sarah Boone, 2020 CF 2603, state.
Jamie Komoroski on behalf of the state.
Defense.
William J. for the state.
Defense.
James Owens for Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table. Ma'am, if you could please raise your right hand, Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth?
Sounds pretty good, right?
I do.
Ma'am, can you state your full name and date of birth for the record for us?
Sarah Boone, 10-10-7-7.
We are here for a sentencing. The jury returned a verdict on October 25, finding you, Ms. Boone, guilty of murder in the second degree. We are running a little bit late this afternoon. I apologize for that. I was in court all morning and took the opportunity to review all of your submittals from earlier this morning, Mr. Owens, including the victim or the character statements, the psychological evaluation by Dr. Harper, the motion for downward departure, the motion for new trial, and the state's response to same. Before we proceed with any sentencing in this matter, the court needs to address the defendant's motion for new trial and the state's response to the defendant's motion for new trial. Anything in addition you'd like to argue at this time, Mr. Owens, over and above what is contained in your motion, sir?
I'll rest on my written
State.
oath. Thank you.
All right. After reviewing the motion and the state's response to same, the defendant's motion for a new trial is denied. Based on the court's review of the record, the court's participation in the trial, and the review of all the evidence, and the court's prior findings and rulings at trial and prior thereto. With that, I believe that we're prepared to proceed with sentencing at this time. The court has reviewed the pre-sentencing investigation prepared by the Department of Corrections. Are there any housekeeping matters that we need to address, Mr. J or Mr. Cacciatore, before we proceed?
Not from the state.
Are there any housekeeping matters from your side of the ledger, sir, that we need to address, Mr. Owens?
Judge, I do have 4 lay witnesses that are going to testify, and I've got Dr. Harper here to testify. Of course, my client's going to testify, but one of them.
Oh, good. Sarah's
lay
going to
witnesses
testify,
wants
baby.
to appear by Zoom. She lives up in Minnesota. I don't know if that's allowed.
We don't have an objection to that.
Should have asked
One
before
of
today.
our witnesses will be providing an impact statement, would also like to appear, of course, virtual link as well.
Okay, so stipulated. If you need it, just let Anita know, and I can have her email it to you right now, the link.
We do have the link. She's waiting to get on, I guess.
Who might it be, sir? Several people.
It should be Lana Albert.
She is here, sir. She's in the, she's viewing, her camera's off and she's, microphone is muted, but she's in the lobby.
Okay.
All right, with that, State, you may proceed.
Wait, Polly, turn it up. Like, I can hear it perfectly. How can you guys hear it?
It is kind of soft.
Is it? All right, I'll crank it up a bit.
Your Honor, at this time, we would like to take an impact statement from, I believe, Ana Torres, which you will be appearing virtually.
I see several guests, but I do not see a Ana Torres in the virtual lobby, sir.
Well, I think while maybe she's having some issue logging on, we have also in-person witnesses.
We can proceed with those first, sir.
Or have her change her name from guest so they know who she is. Was it 15? I thought it was 20. 15 she turned down. Oh,
15 years, man.
Please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us? Okay. Ma'am, you can go ahead.
Oh, she's a translator.
I just want to tell Sarah Boone that I don't hate her for what she did. And I always remember that evening when that lady came into my door and she knocked at the door. And she asked for my name. I tell her my name. And then she said, "Can I come in?" I said, "Okay, yes." And she told me to sit down. I never think that was gonna be my son. And then she said my son was dead. Since that day, I can't sleep. It's hard for me to remember that moment. My son is not here no more. She don't only kill my son, she killed a father, a brother, an uncle. It's been hard. I'm a family because all the brothers, they will always work together. But now it's like something real. Love is missing. Sometimes when I look out the window, I'm waiting for him to come and say, "Mom, I love you." She was always there. She come and call me. I miss that mommy. The last time that I talked to him was at 12 o'clock in January, New Year. He came to my bed and said, "Mom." He woke me up and I said, "Mom, I love you. Happy New Year." Since that day, I don't see him no more. He was my son. I love him. And I miss him a lot. My family miss him a lot too. But I don't hear. But you know what? I was blessed. she ain't gonna be blessed like me because I have my son, I raise him, I have his children, my granddaughter, my grandson, and she not gonna be able to have that. And I did. I raised him. He wasn't perfect, but he was a good son. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. State anything further from this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, sir.
Thank
All
you.
right, I'm going to switch it to the people are saying trial TV live might be better. So I'm going to switch it over to that. We'll see. We shall see.
Don, I love him. And I
Hold
miss
on, I
him a
still got
lot.
the other
My
one running.
family miss him a lot too.
Well, this sounds good.
But I don't hear her. But you know what? I was blessed.
No, I think that's
She ain't gonna be.
No, this sounds good.
Because I have my son, I
right, hold
raise
on.
him, I have his children, my granddaughter, my grandson, and she not gonna be able to have that.
Jesus.
And I did. I raised him. He wasn't perfect, but he was a good son.
All right, hold on.
This is fine. She's about to walk away.
Further from this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, sir.
Thank you. You may call
Oh,
your
see,
next
we're
witness.
behind. You're hearing it from court TV still.
No, we hear it. I don't know what you're hearing, but it sounds perfect for us, so don't do anything.
I do.
Ma'am, could you state and spell your name for the record for us, please?
Victoria Torres. My name is Victoria Torres. George is my brother. Unfortunately, my family has experienced two horrifying tragedies. I just want to make it clear that George deserves justice. As far as my other brother and Sarah deserve to rot in jail. Sarah has caused a lifetime of pain, a lifetime of horrible images, a lifetime of hearing my brother George plead for his life. This is just this moment for all of you. For me and my family, it's forever. Such a simple thing as using a suitcase is so triggering. I try not to close it all the way and leave at least like 2 or 3 inches for the zipper. And it might sound crazy, but it just helps me. She really has flipped my family's life upside down. And I just hope that we can truly get justice for my brother. And I just want to tell the team, thank you so much for everything they did. Thank you.
Thank you. State anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Your Honor, could we see if Ms. Ana Torres has been able to make it online?
Do not see an Ana Torres in the lobby, sir. I have lots of guests, HHSA, Mr. Beck, Lana Albert, Jason Gunn.
Your Honor, is there a cap to the length as to the number of individuals?
Not to my knowledge.
Could we just have just a moment?
Yes.
Yeah, see, the reality is heart-wrenching and I think important that victim impact statements are, the judge knows what he's sentencing her to, you know?
Right.
And
It's
like,
really to give them the chance to feel
Yeah.
like they had their voice heard.
for sure.
Sort of like kind of like a closure, but not really,
I always thought it would be better if they had the defendant sit in the witness chair so that if the person giving the statement wanted them to, so they could direct their statements directly at the defendant.
Well, I've never seen them where they just stand there like that. I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
I see it like that more often than not.
Yeah, maybe that is how I'm used to seeing it. I'm like, and the reason they have to be sworn in is because anything said in court, if you're not sworn in and it's not under oath, it's like it doesn't count. So even though they're expressing their feelings, they might be talking about my son, my brother, my son. He was a good guy. He did this with his life. He did that with his life. He has a child. Any sort of facts that they are going to reference,
Oh, we will definitely cover that, Ariel. No, I have not talked about it. I haven't seen the motion yet either. So crumbs.
Yes, sir, Mr. Cacciatore.
Your Honor, after speaking with Mr. Owens, given the fact that the victim's daughter is having difficulties with.
Is that her, Ana Victoria Torres?
Yes, sir.
Is that it? Is that who it is? All right, ma'am, good afternoon. Can you hear us?
Good afternoon. I can hear you.
Okay, could you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Ana Victoria Torres, ANAVICTORIA TORRES.
Thank you, ma'am. I understand that you'd like to provide a statement to the court at this time. You may proceed.
Okay. Okay. So I'll be speaking for myself and my two siblings. The murder of our father has impacted us on so many levels and in different ways. I myself, for the first year, would wake up screaming every morning or night, wishing I was having a nightmare, only to wake up to remember all over again that my father is gone and I'll never be able to hear him say he loves me ever again. To know my siblings have been affected in such a way that they are now different. They have had a piece of their heart ripped away from them, all while her son gets to hear his mother's voice and see her alive is pathetic. Because of you, Sarah, my sister is heartbroken. Because of you, Sarah, my brother is left wondering when he will ever see his father again. The loss of my father has left me with chronic depression and anxiety. Seeing any moments of fatherly love or kindness being shown between others in real life or even on TV leaves me in complete shambles. Seeking therapy was a must in order to navigate through my workday without a random breakdown. Thoughts of my father's demise still enter my mind ever so often. I'm left either angry, sad, or sick to my stomach to think of how his final moments were. Jorge Torres, my incredible father. Not only was he my father, but my best friend. My personal comic provided me with wisdom and knowledge, creative and loving dad, an older brother, an uncle, a cousin, a friend, a son, and above all, our father. He was human and deserved to be treated as such. My father, Jorge Torres, was one of a kind, an absolute gem. Unfortunately, his light was dimmed on earth by evilness, but with us, we will forever make his name live on. Especially Sarah, I pray that you see his face when you see him at night. That is it.
Thank you. Anything further, State?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further of this witness?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am. State,
Thank you.
anything further?
No other impact statements, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other witnesses or evidence at this point in time, State?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Owens, you may proceed, sir.
Ms. Diane Smith. Judge, what do you want?
I have no issue with her being at the podium. If you want to move about the well to conduct your examination, that's fine, counselor. Ma'am, come on up. Come on up to this podium right here, ma'am. If you could, raise your right hand. Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth?
Ma'am, could you state and spell your name for the record for us, please?
Diane Smith, DIANESMITH.
Okay, thank you very much. Counselor, you may inquire.
And Ms. Smith, tell the court a little bit about you.
I was a chaplain at the 33rd Street Jail for 30 years.
And have you been a chaplain at the jail here in Orange County?
Yes, Orange County Jail
Is it the same
for
jail
30
you're
years.
referring to?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And during that period of time, did you have occasion to meet with Sarah Boone?
I did.
And was it over the course of how long?
I've known her 4 years.
And if you could, tell the court what you'd like to say.
Okay. Well, I first met Sarah. She came in. We have a Christian dorm, and Sarah enrolled in our Christian program. And she was in my classes for a year. And she was very sincere in her efforts to change her life and to be a better person. And I found her very helpful. She was kind and good to people. She loved to serve. And she helped the new girls that would come in, the younger girls. She would mother them and be very kind and very helpful. And then after she graduated from the program, I was her counselor for the other 3 years. And I always found her, very sincere and, trying to do better. I spoke with many inmates that knew her and was associated with her. And they spoke very highly of her and said that, she was helpful and kind and tried to help other people. And I just found her to be, very sincere and trying to be a very good person and change and help people.
Was the Bible involved at all?
Oh, yes, it was all spiritual. Yes, it was spiritual growth plus character girl growth and character, trying to just be a better person in general. She liked to serve other people, like she would help the girls wash their clothes and show them around and teach. But spiritually, she grew very, very great spiritually.
Thank you.
Hang on, ma'am, just 1 second.
Ma'am?
Hang on just 1 second, Ms. Smith. State any questions.
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
I'd like to call Christina Pena. It's right here.
Yeah, it's fine, Counselor. Thank you. Ma'am, come on up if you can. Raise your right hand. Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in.
Do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Ma'am, if you could state and spell your name for the record for us.
Christina Pena, Christina Pena.
All right, you may inquire, sir.
Ms. Pena, how old are you?
31,
And where do you live?
Orlando.
Now, it's my understanding, Ms. Pena, that you were in the county jail with Sarah Boone.
Yes.
How long were y'all in the same cell together?
Yes, I was in there for 4 years, but we were together for 3.
Okay. And I understand ultimately the charges against you were dismissed? And so you were released on what day?
April 4th this year.
2024?
2023.
2023. So you've been out for a pretty long.
I've been out for like 6 or so months now. Yeah, since April of this year, actually. Sorry.
April of 2024. And you said y'all were bunkmates there together for about 3 years?
Yeah.
I would assume that y'all got to know each other pretty well.
We did.
Okay. And if you'd like to speak on her behalf to the judge.
Sarah's one of my best friends, my only.
You take your time.
She's helped me a lot. Spiritually and like growing and
She met her in prison? Is this what's happening?
She helps everybody. She's always, I don't know,
Help
spirit.
George.
She helped me a lot and
Didn't help George.
she would come to me. She talked to me all the time and pick me up when I was down or if I didn't know something. She's good. I don't know. She was a good person to me. She just, mistakes happen.
People die.
She always helped. She always helped people. She was always helping everybody in the dorm. She, even like her artwork, she did art. Anybody need any help or needed anything, they'd come to her and she'd help them. And even if they, did wrong to her, she would still go back and help them and praise with them and pray over them and everything. It's just
And was she a little bit older than you?
Yeah.
How much older was she?
40 in her 40s.
Did you think of her as maybe an aunt or a big sister?
A big sister, yeah. She was like a big sister, like a sister I never had. Because I have brothers, so I never, we clicked right away. I don't know. We'd be walking out in the backyard and she just would always try and talk to me, but I'm a quiet person and I don't trust a lot of people. So for me to open up and trust somebody, it's a lot. So.
And obviously y'all were there under difficult circumstances. Did she assist you in getting through that?
Yes, and she helped me a lot with my my case, and I would help her with with hers too. We're both.
I told her how to testify.
Justice is not what it is. I don't know how.
Bless you.
We both helped each other out. I don't know.
Ms. Vigneault, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any questions, State?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
Moving, very moving.
Ms. Hill? Judge.
Yes, sir.
After Ms. Hill, I'm gonna take,
Panties.
Yes, sir.
Where is Sarah Boone's family?
Maybe they're building up to it.
tarde.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
My name is Mariela Hill, Mariela, last name Hill, Hill.
Thank you. You may proceed, sir.
Ms. Hill, briefly tell us a little bit about yourself.
I met Sarah in jail.
Ooh.
I spent 3 months in jail.
And she's my best friend.
And she's my
Went
best
through
friend.
A lot of unfortunate circumstances myself.
Now, this was in the Orange County Jail here in Orlando?
Orange County Jail.
And when would that have been? Do you recall the dates?
Yes, it was April, from April to June of this year.
Of this year,
2024.
2024.
Correct. Yes.
And did you develop a relationship with Sarah Boone over the course of that 3 months?
Yes.
I have never, ever, ever,
And
ever
I needed help.
called people
From
who
jail?
a client made friends with in jail to say they were nice to me.
And
Never.
since that
I've
moment,
never even contemplated such a thing.
really good friends.
Hey, you're talking over her very important words.
Yeah, sure.
So respectful.
Our
and
daughter's
loving,
calling.
Not just to me, but to everyone. And I have nothing but good things to say about her, her character, her loving heart, and how deep her faith is, her faith in God and believing in justice for everyone. That's what I believe.
State any questions.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Hill. I appreciate it. Ms. Albert, good afternoon, ma'am. Can you hear me? This is Judge Kranick. And if you can, I would ask you to turn on your camera and unmute yourself at this time, please.
Sir, how do I unmute turn on my camera? I know how to unmute, but I'm not sure how to turn the camera on.
Cat lady.
Turn the volume down.
Judge, I'm not a cat.
So, ma'am,
is that better?
When you
I
join the link, there should have been an
promise you I'm
option
not.
for like a pull down on the left-hand side of the screen for you to open out or turn on a camera. I don't know what device you're appearing on, if it's a cell phone or a laptop.
I mean, I don't know about y'all.
It is an iPhone. Should I try to re-enter the room?
Yeah, try to do that. There should be an option.
I hope she has the
you
cat
to
filter
pick
on.
a camera.
I hope she has the cat filter on.
Stop. This is
you
a.
just select the
Oh, is
default
this a
camera,
defense
and
witness?
hopefully we'll be able to see you at that time.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let me just give me 1 second.
Judge, I'm not a cat. I can see that, ma'am. That would be glorious, though.
There's polygraph. She's got something to say. Please be lenient on her. She makes a lovely bowl of porridge and shared her toothpaste with me once.
And her toilet wine was above and beyond. Like, she put so much
Top
care into
notch.
making her toilet wine. Pruno. Everybody loves Pruno toilet wine.
Yeah, where is her family? Someone, anyone who wants to talk about how traumatized she was from all the abuse?
Did that work? Can you
drove
see
her
me?
to-
That did not work, cat lady.
Shoot. Yeah, it's saying default camera. It's saying front camera. I chose it. It didn't show my face or anything like that.
Jump on your phone, Chief.
Judge is trying to decide what the rules allow for him.
Phone.
State.
Use your phone.
I have no objection to the witness making their statement here.
Okay, appreciate it. All right, Miss Albert, good afternoon. If you could just state and spell your name for the record for us, please.
Certainly. Lana, Lana, Albert, Albert.
Okay. All right, Mr. Owens is going to ask you some questions. And if you could just answer them, ma'am, I would greatly appreciate it. Sir, you can proceed.
Miss Albert, do you have the ability to turn your volume down?
Yes, I just did. I can't hear you very well when I do that, though.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you, but very, very quietly.
How about now?
Yes, I can hear you. Am I okay?
Yeah, you sound a lot better. You were too loud earlier.
Yeah, him turning
Okay.
down, her
Can you
turning
hear
down
me
her
okay?
volume doesn't change.
I can hear you.
Come on, people.
All right, Miss Albert, tell the court a little bit about yourself briefly?
Well, I'm not a cat.
Well, I live in Minnesota. I currently have end-stage renal disease. Before I became disabled, I was a business owner in the Twin Cities here.
All right. And how old are you?
I am 50 years old.
All right. And you're considered disabled?
Yes, I am.
All right. And have you had an occasion since this event to establish a relationship with Sarah Boone?
Yes, I have. We have been friends for the past a little over 11 months.
And how do y'all communicate?
We've communicated a lot of phone calls, lots of tablet back and forth, and a lot of letters as well. I'd say many hours of time spent with each other.
All right. And do you want to speak on her behalf here today?
I would, please.
All right. Would you please tell the court what you would like for the court to know?
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Your Honor, for the privilege of speaking on behalf of my friend Sarah Boone. I also want to extend my heartfelt condolences to everyone here affected by this terrible tragedy, which has brought us all here and listening in. Many articles and videos and opinions of Sarah have gone out in the airways and on the webs. Opinions that have been formed and commented on so much that it's hard not to give into the temptation to treat people like a comic book or a fictional character. In the case of my friend Sarah, the words narcissist, Karen, villain, many other things, they roll off the tongue with little regard to the humanity that is dismissed so flippantly. And under a lot of circumstances, I was one of those people, as I have a love of true crime, and becoming friends with Sarah has shown me that there's a lot more depth to the people I see on the screen. I'd like to share with the world and with the court about the Sarah Boone that I know.
Mandy's on fire today.
Sarah Boone is a kind, honest, and good person. The Sarah Boone I know is one who loves animals, especially the kind who are damaged and defenseless. How many of us would take in and pour love for a hearing impaired and a sight impaired pair of dogs? She has a natural instinct to help reach out and give of herself, her time and energy and love, especially to those who are hurting or damaged. You all have seen her fight for her own life and truth here. I tell you this, she fights even harder for those she loves, giving time, attention, and companionship without a single thought for her own gain or what somebody can do for her. And one huge example is in the matter of our friendship. As I said before, I have end-stage renal disease caused by a genetic illness called polycystic kidney disease. As my life has progressed, things I have taken for granted have been taken away from me. I could not appear in court in person because I can no longer walk, as my dialysis treatments have affected the circulation of my legs and has confined me to a wheelchair. To say that my life has radically changed is an understatement. Through it all, I have many friends and family I love and cherish. Sarah has distinguished herself differently in this way. In the course of getting to know her, I started sharing the progressing state of my health. It was like lightning had struck her. The moment Sarah had learned the depth of my struggles health-wise, she straight up offered strenuously to donate a kidney to me. I got to tell you this. I hope she's not mad for me showing this, but she had no hesitation, no concern over personal risk or personal gain. I want to convey to this out and around the world that is merely offering is a good and heroic act. I've had many friends. I've not had one outside of my brother who has offered me a kidney. That is huge. I don't have anything of equal value to give to her. And that's not the actions of a narcissist. She did it as a reflex action, as a good person. After the verdict came in October, we spoke that night. And I hope Sarah doesn't get mad at me again for disclosing this, but out of all the shock and seriousness of what had happened in the court, the thing that made her emotionally break was that she realized she could no longer be a donor to me. I mean, I was sitting there like, hey, you know, it's going to be okay. But she was so broken up, she couldn't help me. That's a friend. She is not, nor does she come up anywhere remotely close to being a narcissist. Now, one more
Judge
thing
wasn't calling
before I
her a
go.
narcissist.
Who said anything about narcissists?
Social
buddy?
media has worked
The
to rip the
social
blindfold off
media.
of Lady Justice, to take the sword out of her right hand and start assassinating Sarah's character.
Oh, God.
However, the scales are the balance. As it says in Psalm 85, mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Justice isn't justice without mercy. Our pursuit of righteousness isn't complete and right without peace. Thank you, Your Honor, for the honor of speaking for my friend Sarah Boone. I hope that your justice is mixed with mercy here today. Thank you.
State, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Any follow-up, Mr. Owens?
No, Judge.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Albert. I appreciate you.
Like to call Dr. Harper. You want her on the stand or?
I'm
weird
okay with
echo.
her on the stand.
On the stand?
No, she can be right now. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I want to see Kevin.
Judge, you want her on the podium?
No, she'd be at the podium. That's fine. Doctor, good afternoon. If you could please raise your right hand. Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in.
Oh, Mandy.
If you could, doctor, state and spell your name for the record for us, please.
Dr. Julie Harper, Julieharper.
All right, thank you. Counselor, you may inquire.
And Dr. Harper, we all know we were here a few weeks back for the trial, and your testimony, the judge's judgment is quite a bit about your testimony. But if you could, I know that you prepared a report, and we have submitted that to the court, which the court has read and has taken out a copy.
Oh, Lord.
And I don't know if you want to refer to that or just speak on wrong about Sarah Boone and what you did to assess her, and then any opinions that you want to express.
All right. I think that during trial testimony, I reviewed all of the documents, excuse me, and all of the records that were available. They're documented in my report as well. In addition to the forensic clinical interviews that I conducted, I also have had the opportunity to talk to her brother, Philip Paulson, in the interim since the trial, and I included his information.
Where's he at?
In my report as to her family background.
If you could give the court a synopsis of what you
What the hell? We could hear him a second ago.
uncovered, maybe from the brother, whatever you think the court needs to hear in this relevant material.
I mean, I got it cranked. She's more
So
important than
referring
him.
to the summary section of my report, I'll keep it a brief, but I'll outline the highlights that I feel like haven't been conveyed before, which is an understanding of Ms. Boone's early family life, in that she is the middle child of her parents' union, and that her parents did not have a happy marriage. They didn't provide an opportunity to have a good role model as to how to have a partnership together. Ms. Boone was born in close proximity to her youngest brother, 11 months apart. And in my clinical experience and training, I would say that that disrupted her attachment with her mother, some being close in proximity with her younger brother, whose temperament just seemed to suit a relationship with her mother better than her own. So ultimately, Ms. Boone bonded with her father, though he wasn't described by either child as an affectionate person. He was somebody that was there for her at sporting events and more of a primary parent for her in that way. His untimely death by heart attack during her high school years was marked by her brother as a turning point for her in how she was acting at home. Her demeanor, her relationship with her mother took a turn for the worse. She was not coping well. She was using substances based on what her brother was saying. And it is my opinion that that early lack of foundational relations with her mom and not feeling very secure, the death of her father, destabilized her. That's a period of your life when you're leaving high school, when you should have formed a very solid foundation to go out in the world. And I don't think that that's what she had at that moment. She bonded easily with Mr. Boone, and you can see that there are elements of that early difficulty with her relationships because she took on a parentified role, in my opinion, during that relationship. And therefore, there's a power imbalance in that she was making decisions and not, again, having an equal relationship. I think that that led her to a sense of being a need to be right, a need to feel like she is the one that's making good decisions, to have some ego support by being in the right all the time with Mr. Boone. And I think that that led to some behaviors that she carried over into her relationship with Mr. Torres, in that she's parentified around him and acting more like a parent-child relationship, being a facilitator of housing and applications for jobs and things like that. So again, there's a power imbalance that I think was very seriously misaligned, as her brother and the property manager of their apartment had verified. They saw her being abused, physically abused in serious ways, or the effects of the abuse and bruising or calls to them. It is my opinion that she called for help, but when people got tired of her not leaving Mr. Torres, they stopped responding to those calls. And basically, Ms. Boone handled things on her own. And as other people with healthier boundaries probably would have left, she being acting out the pattern of intimate partner violence did not leave. She stayed long past when it would have been smart for others, or others would have said to leave, sorry. The undergirding of that not leaving the relationship is a long-term anxiety problem that became post-traumatic stress disorder. There is an earlier instance of exposure to traumatic stress in that she was the person in the hospital after her father died who found him having students perform CPR on his dead body. So that was an early exposure to high traumatic stress, witnessing that incident. And based on her brother's description, that was something that changed her. When a person is exposed to numerous compounding stressors, their adrenaline system is changed. It alters your body. And things that might be an otherwise neutral situation, you tend to have a cascading adrenaline response to that. And I think that that ultimately for her, as she succumbed to other instances of serious physical abuse from her partner, became post-traumatic stress disorder. I do think that that is a condition that is still existent even while she's in jail. It's something that she needs treatment for because those triggers are unmitigated, meaning that she hasn't really had the kind of therapy to address them and reduce her adrenaline and anxiety responses when she thinks of past instances of traumatic events that have happened to her. You can also respond to post-traumatic stress disorder clinically by using antidepressant therapy, and that would be something that could assist her ultimately in reducing symptoms if she had counseling and antidepressant therapy.
Now, Dr. Harper, I know you testified at the trial that, in your opinion, she suffered as a bad spouse, the syndrome that is legally recognized in Florida, in the courts of Florida.
That's correct.
And I understand that that is tied to this intimate partner violence, which is maybe the same thing, but there's a complex mental health issue that ties into that. Can you speak on the complexity of that whole cycle that one such as Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres were involved in?
Certainly. So intimate partner violence is not a diagnosis. It's a pattern of events that occur between two partners in which the power dynamic is altered by the physical abuse or behaviors that are controlling in nature to the point that someone's safety is threatened. It's common for victims of that to have a complex mental health condition, often including depression, anxiety, and substance abuse problems. And what might be substance abuse to cope with the problem, like numbing oneself, will sometimes result in its own diagnosis. The pattern of intimate partner violence, I think we covered in the trial, but just in summary about that, there are phases in which at first bonding of the two partners might be something positive. They've got something in common or have pleasurable time together. And then the secondary phase of that is when there is change in dynamic and some kind of traumatic event occurs, some instance of physical violence. And then there's a third phase in which it's like a honeymoon phase where they're trying to right the relationship. So in phase one, when they're having something pleasurable, the tone shifts. Phase two, there is some kind of incident. And phase three, there's a honeymoon phase. As that pertains to anxiety, I think that a person who suffers from intimate partner violence never stops experiencing that hypervigilance, waiting for the next instance of violence to occur. So even though they may look happy, they might be experiencing something positive, they've not really relaxed because their memory that could or will occur again is still in their mind. So they haven't fully stopped experiencing intimate partner violence. It's just what phase of the process they're in.
Now, and Dr. Harper, it goes into more detail in your report, which I supplied to the court, which is a total of 11 pages, and I believe that's confidential documents.
That's what's been marked. I don't believe it's been filed in the court file.
Okay.
If it has, that's something if it needs to be, it's something we can address. I have reviewed it. It does reflect confidential privilege information on the first page. I don't believe it's been filed in the court file unless you did it. Okay. It already has been? All right, appreciate it. Okay, excellent. Thank you, sir.
And Dr. Harper, you're aware that the defense has filed a defendant's motion for downward departure.
Yes.
And we've listed several factors under paragraph 3, the capacity of the defendant to appreciate the criminal nature of her actions and conform with the requirements of law or substantially impaired, that she requires specialized treatment for a mental disorder that is not related to substance use or addiction, although you agree that she does suffer from alcohol use disorder.
So she has an underlying mental health disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I additionally diagnosed her with alcohol use disorder, which is separate.
But you agree she does require specialized treatment for a mental disorder that's not related to the substance use or addiction?
That's correct.
And you agree she's amenable for treatment?
Yes.
And you would agree that she acted under extreme duress in this unique homicide case?
Yes.
And you would agree that the uniqueness of the circumstances, the facts and circumstances surrounding the case, that the offense was committed in an unsophisticated manner?
Yes.
And it was isolated.
That's my understanding as well.
Other than she had the charge, which both of them were charged at one time, and I think she had the strangulation allegation, the felony case that was ultimately dismissed when both of them were arrested.
She had a prior felony case. Facts are different, of course, than this particular case over here today.
Dr. Harper, I believe that's all the questions I've got, unless you would like to say if I've missed anything, of course.
No,
Okay, and if not, then you report.
yes.
Any questions?
Yes, may she take a stand so I can be voting?
Yes, that's fine. You may inquire, sir.
In pages 1 and 2 of your report, you go through the sources of your information, correct?
Yes.
And that would include 8 interviews that you had with her from the course of August of 2020 through September of 2024, correct?
There were 9 interviews, but 8 dates of service are listed.
You did the Miller Forensic Assessment of Symptoms Test, or MFAST.
That's right.
Inventory of Legal Knowledge, ILK.
That's right.
Clinician Administered PTSD Scale 5 examination.
Yes.
You consulted with her attorney.
Yes.
Videotaped interviews from this court case number of Sarah Boone, interview part 1 and 2, Abraham Moreno interview, Brandon Moats interview, Brian Boone interview, Juan Torres interview, and Melissa Sexton interview, correct?
Yes.
You reviewed the autopsy photos?
Yes.
You reviewed some of the digital forensic exhibits, including the Apple iPhone XS and a Samsung SMJ 327 T1 photographs from those two devices?
Yes.
You reviewed Bates stamped discovery pages 1 through 413.
That's correct.
The crime scene photos are photos of the scene taken on June 19th of 2020.
Yes.
Aspire Health records.
Yes.
And who do those pertain to?
Aspire Health records are for Sarah Boone.
Florida Hospital Medical Group records.
Yes.
And who do those records pertain to?
That is also for Sarah Boone.
And Aspire, is that a mental health treatment facility?
It has an emergency department record, but that would be the place where she was detained under the Baker Act.
And it is routine and common in the practice of forensic psychology or psychiatry to rely on the records of other such practitioners.
As a source of information, sure.
You reviewed the deposition of Dr. Tanya Warner.
I did.
You reviewed the trial testimony of Sarah Boone, Brian Boone, Dr. Michael Brannon, Dr. Tanya Werner, correct?
Yes.
The jury verdict form dated 10/25/24.
Yes.
Witness list notice of filing amended.
Yes.
On this case. Records of Jorge Torres or George Torres involving case numbers 2019 MM 5114, a 911 call and PDF, case 2019 MM 7193, case 2019 MM 7193, Torres Public Records, case 2019 MM 7193, Torres Photos, Central Florida Primary Care Records, Advent Health Orlando Medical Records, correct?
Yes.
And those latter records that I just mentioned, those for Mr. Torres and not Ms. Boone, correct?
That's right.
Then you reviewed Sarah Boone written correspondence, Sarah's listing of domestic violence incidents, Sarah's writings regarding missing days of work and Baker Act, and a 74-page life story.
That's right.
And then case 2018 CF 10573, public records and photos.
Yes.
And a telephone interview with Melissa Sexton, the property manager, which you conducted on October 1st, 2024.
Yes.
And a telephonic interview with Philip Paulson, the defendant's brother, on November 26, 2024.
Yes.
Where has Ms. Boone been housed and living since February of 2020?
At the Orange County Jail.
And does the Orange County Jail provide mental health services to inmates?
It does.
And you already testified you would routinely, as a forensic psychologist, review records kept of psychological or psychiatric treatment of a patient or a client, correct?
Yes.
In this particular case, have you reviewed any mental health records generated by the Orange County Jail for Ms. Boone?
No, I have not had the opportunity to do that.
So for the last 58 months or so, if she was being seen by the mental health treatment staff at the jail, you have not reviewed those records.
That's correct.
And they are overseen at the jail, in the Orange County Jail, by a psychiatrist. Are you aware or not?
If the person's level of mental health intervention deems them eligible for psychiatry, then they will.
And any diagnosis or lack of diagnosis that they have had during the course of the last 58 months, you are unaware of because you did not review the records.
That's right.
I don't have any other questions.
Any redirect examination?
No, Judge.
All right, thank you.
One question. Dr. Harper, I didn't ask you to review those records, did I?
No.
Thank you.
He switched her to the
Judge, I believe you said it at the very beginning that I had submitted several letters on behalf of Ms. Boone, and she didn't hear that, but I wanted her to be made aware.
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't actually read those letters into the record, but you did read them.
I have reviewed them. They're in my binder here. How many do I have? Yes. Give me a second. I can tell you.
Wow.
I have
this Sarah.
I have 6 handwritten letters. First one is 1 page. Second one is 2 pages. Third one is 1 page. Fourth one is 2 pages. Fifth one is 2 pages. Sixth one is 2 pages. I have a typed letter from Diane Smith, the assistant chaplain. I have another typed letter from a Nicole Ray, a typed letter from a Stephanie L., typed letter from Philip Paulson, a email from Lana Albert, 2 pages in length, and a 2-page email from a Danielle Parsons.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Judge, I would like to call Sarah Boone.
You may proceed.
Oh boy.
Yes, please.
I can't believe it. What the hell is she? I can't believe it. Just screwing up her appeal. You're not talking, right, babe?
Yeah, I was. Hey, crank your mic up a little bit.
Yours
You're a
was on
little
mute,
low.
so meh.
Yeah, well, that's to be expected. That's to be expected. So, yeah, this is very shaky territory for her.
Yep. Because she can't do herself any good unless she basically admits guilt and, indicates how sorry she is.
Right. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. She can't help herself. She can't help herself. Just cannot help herself.
And I don't think that the state's not going to cross-examine her.
I mean, is she gonna? I mean, the problem with it is exactly what you said. If she gets up there and says anything other than "I'm sorry for what I did," and it should never have happened. If she goes up there and makes excuses, it clearly cannot help her in
It
sentencing.
will hurt her.
It will hurt
hurt her.
Right. So I don't know. I'm sure good old James Owen tried to talk her out of it, but no one's talking Sarah out of shit.
Emily says the judge's flabbers were gasted when he asked how many letters. I agree. It was like, is this woman kidding me right now? She's serious, huh? Okay,
Right.
I'll do some work for you there, Sarah. Open
Without
this here
further ado.
binder and I'll count all this stuff.
The Boonster, in her own words.
Ms. Boone, you can be seated. You've been previously sworn. You may inquire, sir.
For the record, just state your name again.
Sarah Boone.
All right. Now, this is unlike a trial, so you're allowed to speak in a narrative form, as well as I understand you have taken some notes or written a letter that you want to read from, and then you want to speak to the court after that.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and get started?
I'd like to start with the fact that I excel at everything.
This is actually an edited version of.
Whoa. Looked like she wanted to put him in a suit.
I had a lot to say. I've had a lot of time to think about things, and I didn't really know how to put it on paper. And I didn't know how much I could say or how little I should say. So what I have here is, like I said, an edited version. But I would like to read the more important parts that I feel that everyone should know that wasn't said in my actual trial. And on top of what I have on paper, this is just the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg. So I wanted to read this, and then if I may, I would like to address everyone in my apology on top of my statement.
You may proceed, ma'am.
Kintu sukuroi is a kind of Japanese ceramic style which means to repair with gold. In this tradition, when a ceramic piece breaks, an artisan will fuse the pieces back together again using liquid gold or gold dust lacquer.
So rather than being covered up, the breaks become more obvious and a brilliant new piece of art emerges from the brokenness. It embraces flaws, weakness, and imperfections, and also teaches the essence of resilience. Every crack in a ceramic piece is a part of its history, and each piece becomes more beautiful because it has been broken. This is the wisdom of Kintu Sukuroi. In my wisdom and with all of my repairs, then, now, and ongoing, God is, has been, and will always be my artisan. All of my gold is forgiveness. This has held me together, made me shine brighter, and overcome the damage caused by Jorge Torres, the Torres family, the justice system, Orange County Corrections Department, social media, scoundrel detectives, infamy, defamation, ongoing constitutional rights violations, second-degree murder, forced into being pro se. Just as gold is very precious, forgiveness is invaluable. Forgiveness is not an attempt to change or forget who, what, or how you've lived through to be so gold, but an act of grace, humility, and considerable self-compassion to be set free from sorrow. Withholding forgiveness denies your brilliance and adds even greater grief and deeper heartache, irreparable cracks on top of the already that no one deserves, no matter the pain or disappointment, untruths or injustice. It doesn't matter. As the more broken you are, even though now different than before, you've become more outstanding and more extraordinary.
I'm even more extraordinary, Your Honor. What happened? The internet said, fuck her. If you're talking, we can't hear you.
I know. It's a fucking like, it's because I'm charging my little keyboard. Sorry. Hold on. I wouldn't want you guys to miss one.
Wow, it was right in the
second of Sarah
right in the height
Boone.
of her most compelling words.
Hey, stay gold, pony boy. Stay gold. That's all I can tell you.
This is forgiven. And when you forgive, you have...
Like you're going to do me, Your Honor.
Give, you heal. And when you heal, you move forward.
I'm already moving.
My goal begins with Jorge Torres, and every time he slapped me, punched, spit on, raped, stabbed, choked, laughed at, pushed, pulled, dragged, whipped, tripped, stole from, lied, terrorized, threatened, humiliated, forced, degraded, made me cry.
Nail and coffin.
Every time he tried to end me, defeat, or destroy.
Can't hear you.
I
Nail
forgive Jorge for
coffin.
beating me senseless, for trying to sleep because I had to go to work or my son's field trip the next day.
Another
for
nail
ruining
in
my
coffin.
deceased family's heirlooms, traditions, and keepsakes, my son's furniture, destroying the television we watched together.
So I
For wrecking
murdered
our
your
townhome
ass.
by breaking windows, punching holes in the walls and doors, ramming his entire body into glass doors, kicking in my front and back door over and over and over.
Nailing
For
coffin.
breaking or removing the locks from all of the doors and sometimes the knobs altogether, so I had nowhere to feel safe, including the sacred space of my son's room where he beat me bloody on his bed.
Nailing coffin.
For terrorizing and threatening my blind and deaf dogs by leaving the gate open I built to keep them safe, telling me he hoped I'd
Murder.
find their bloated dead body in the pond or scrape their remains off of the pavement, for kicking them off of the bed and throwing across the room because they were trying to protect me.
For all those things, I killed
For
your ass.
threatening to make me unrecognizable to my
saying?
son by breaking all of the bones in my face.
Can you guys hear Allison? I can't hear a word you're saying.
What?
I told you your mic is too low.
Well,
Did you turn it down manually?
I turned it back up after that. No
It's
one
still
can
very-
hear me? Good thing,
Not,
because I'm
not
just
over
going
Sarah
off half
talking
cocked.
about gold and about, how horrible George was. Oh, you can hear her? Good. All right. I can't hear her. So as long as you guys can hear her.
Now I'm going to be really loud and I'm all just.
I've heard her plenty.
Look, yeah, she's saying nailing coffin, Bob. Nailing
okay.
coffin.
All right, good. All right.
Like wait. But with every one of these, it is another nail in her coffin. With every little snarky for doing this to my dogs, for doing this to my son, there literally is another nail in her coffin. It's basically like she's saying, here are the reasons that I killed you. And go.
Yeah. All right.
Face, like his brother Moses did to him after he kept seeing all of the bruises from George beating me, like all of the times their father beat their mother. For all of the drunken rages and fist fights with so many neighbors when wandering into their apartments during hunting expeditions after I had escaped. For drowning me in liquor and wine because I didn't want to drink, causing me to urinate on myself, then butting the end of the bottle in my face, giving me 2 black eyes and a bloody nose. For making me experience what it is to be sodomized. Threatening to kill my friends and the neighbors when they checked on me to make sure I was alive and in one piece. For
Just think
threatening to
about
burn
this
down
next time you
our
cheat on me.
townhome and
Is
set
that
my
what she
car
said?
on fire because I got a job. For holding me hostage on weekends my son was supposed to come over by keeping my keys around his neck, my phone in his crotch, and a butcher knife stuck in the middle of the table as a warning not to ask anything or try to leave. For stabbing me in the leg and not letting me call 911 for an ambulance or seek help, where I nearly bled to death until I concocted a lie to save him from being arrested. For destroying my phone with a hammer because my son called. For me experiencing ever being arrested and after today, prison. For beating me almost blind, crushing my occipital lobe. For having me experience what it means to see stars, like in the cartoons, where a character has a tall lump on their head. I had that too, and many times. For dragging me downstairs by my hair in the middle of the night just to sit next to him. For taking my car driving drunk with my debit card to buy more alcohol while I slept, even after I kindly explained the importance of my car to take my son to school foremost, me to work, and he to his batterers intervention classes and probation officer meetings, where I would be forced to sit for hours in the parking lot waiting for him. For causing me so much trauma and pain, mentally, physically, emotionally, I had to be hospitalized more than once. For destroying my reputation and integrity, for my M for murderer scarlet letter, not letting me feel safe to live, talk to other people, spend time with my son, have a job, friendships, simply go to the bathroom with the door closed, or go to sleep soundly or comfortably. I forgive George for lying, for him trying in so many ways, so many times, to end me with his terrifying love. I also forgive the Torres family, his mother and father foremost, also his 2 ex-wives and daughters, all for knowing.
Hey, Sarah, you didn't forgive him. You murdered him.
Right.
Shut
Right. You
the
just
fuck
gave
up.
us a list about all the reasons you murdered
She
him.
didn't forgive him.
No,
She
no.
murdered him.
That's what
Who
she
George
did.
was, capable of, and has done in the past, his history of violence and where he learned it, then to keep turning a blind eye when I would ask for help.
Now she's
All of
insulting
his
his family.
siblings, including Pharrell Torres, who is now on his way to prison for
Oh, now.
stabbing the mother of their baby in the side of her head. For everyone who knew what George was doing to me, sometimes how and when, but allowed and enabled.
I think he's adding more
I
years
forgive
now.
them for caring too
Honestly,
late.
whatever he
I hope
had,
they all ask
he's
themselves
going
while
up.
quiet and comfortable in bed at night the uneasy question, what could I have done to stop this from happening to both of them? And after all the time Sarah tried to, by asking for help from all of us and so many times. Another great contributor of my gold is social media, with its greed, insensitivity, deception, obvious exploitation, and advantageous gain from my criminal case as a whole, and for sentencing me by anticipation as a result of ignorance and hate, conjured and fabricated by the organized crime that is social media, which condemned me in the court of global public opinion since the beginning. My family law case is the new prey waiting to be picked apart and pillaged from me being made infamous by social media in my criminal case. It simply seems I cannot forgive and be forgiven and move forward. Social media has made me a pariah. It has caused great oppression and undeniable disadvantages,
Are you kidding
especially
me?
by broadcasting and manipulating my cases online. In my criminal case, as a result, my opportunities to be given a fair, proper, and uninfluenced, successful.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's my fault. My
No, it's
fault.
definitely
Sorry.
your fault. It's definitely
Sorry.
your fault. But the judge, she's literally shitting on everyone in the courtroom. Now comes the judge. I didn't get a fair trial because was Your Honor watching the social medias? Because the social medias, they was not fair to me.
I mean, look, if she was about to get any kind of
Anything, any sort of
it's
mercy,
gone.
it's gone. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, he has changed his mind. He's probably going
He
to
will say it to her.
I hope he does.
He's like, I had you at 25 years, but your big fucking mouth
You're
just
fucking
set you
lack
at
of remorse. You're fucking sitting here insulting the family who's grieving. Your inability to wow.
It's
Wow.
unbelievable.
Crazy lady.
Crazy.
Lady.
Crazy lady. Crazy lady, Your Honor. I am not a cat.
Conclusion was heavily depleted and poisoned. I forgive them. Also, all of the media tycoons for not having a life of their own, trying so desperately to make themselves seem so right by making me appear so wrong. Forgiveness for prejudgment, ridiculous theatrics, lies, making and taking blood money from my and others' misfortunes, accidents, and catastrophes. It's all over their hands and their keyboards. And even after all that's been said and done, theorized, hypothesized, scrutinized, and blasphemed, in my case, still no one knows me. In the end, I forgive myself for not choosing my life sooner, for not being more brave, vigilant, bolder, and outspoken, stronger, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, for being hopeless, desperate, simple-minded, weak, and inexperienced. I forgive myself for not realizing I was enduring a life of domestic violence and that the vicious cycle of never ends. I had nothing to compare to. I've never been hit by a man ever before in my life. I was raised hitting a woman was wrong and should never happen. No excuse. I forgive myself for not escaping permanently, for not fighting back sooner to save myself, my son, my dogs, home, and car. Having 20/20 hindsight, thinking of everything I could have done differently or better to avoid the outcome. I think about this every day since. Also, of all the good days we had together, for him at least, while I was constantly in hyperdrive, high alert, and paranoid, making sure I did everything right all the time. If
Except
not,
that one
the great
time.
possibility I would be
Except that
ended
one little
George,
time.
as George
Are you
threatened me
kidding
with
me?
so many times before.
One little time when I murdered him.
I forgive myself for falling in love with a monster, and no matter how grotesque he may become, I still loved him, hoped, and forgave. I tried breaking the spell so he wouldn't be a monster anymore. I saw who he was inside. George made me then, now, and always love him for all of his cracks also. We made each other our own brilliant pieces of art from the cracks and repairs. Unfortunately, not all cracks can be. In all of my forgiveness, George is my greatest lesson and will forever be a part of me. I think of him every day and still speak to him when alone on the rec yard. I ask his forgiveness and that he looks for me at the gates of heaven so I can tell him how sorry I am endlessly and that I never stopped loving him. In all of it and still. When I first came to jail, I put my mat under my bed and cried all day and all night for months, only falling asleep from being so exhausted with grief. I wrote him letters. I wrote his family and his daughters, apologizing for asking for their forgiveness. But due to fear that my life or sons would be jeopardized, I did not send. I am sorry. I cannot begin to fathom any of their grief and sadness. Please forgive me. Almost everything reminds me of him, seeing my stab wound especially every day especially. It truly reminds me that all I really did live through. George haunts me. He is everywhere. I believe because I do still love him, think of him, and miss his laugh the most. In my heart, I know he is with me and understands that this tragedy was not intentional. I hope everyone can, his family foremost. I didn't mean for this to happen. Please wholeheartedly know that and always, I would never. Forgive me, George. Forgive me, Torres family. Forgive me, Judge Cranick. To the entire planet, please forgive me.
After that, oh my
I graciously and humbly ask
God.
for consideration, for forgiveness to be extended instead of judgment, for reconciliation and restoration for all of us to move forward. My apology is profuse and ceaseless. Allow me, please, to brush off the muck, wipe the blood off of my face, and fix the cuts in my skin. I ask for understanding in what really happened and for how long, for second chances, repentance, and redemption, to advocate for all domestic violence survivors, to help them overcome,
Lord.
heal,
I
and still
can't even.
hope, always, to make their voices heard, to confidently walk with all of their scars on the outside and the inside, to help them not ever become a casualty of domestic violence as so many others, to stop the abuse and maltreatment before it's too late. There is always hope, and you can survive. In my soft-spoken conclusion, I ask this. Would I be the darling mother, celebrated woman of the year, if it were I who died? How many daughters, mothers, sisters, aunts, grandmothers, nieces, and friends have been because they did? I am a survivor. Learn to do good, seek justice, rebuke oppressors, defend the fatherless, plead for the widow. Isaiah 1:17, all-encompassing, protect the abused.
Ms. Boone, is that the end of your written statement?
Yes.
Now, gathering your thoughts, did you want to make an oral statement?
I do.
All right, would you do that now?
Yes, please. My statement, my verbal statement is primarily to the Torres family, to the judge, to his daughters. I know you all know who I really am and that I did care for George and that I do still love George. I know you know that we had very many good days. And I take offense to the statement of
She's taking
being
offense still.
said that this is just for a moment. Right now with me here in the courtroom in front of you all, this is just for a moment. But the moments before that, in order for me to be here, is endless. It's everlasting. The scars that I have on the inside, my outside scars have healed except for my stab wound. But this has changed me as a person to see things differently and to understand things
Is anyone
differently.
believing these pauses? What? No.
Not be
Not
weak
be-
and
yeah, weak. That's what I was going to say.
just try to protect yourself and forever, regardless of the time that I may receive from today. I forever will have this experience. I forever will have George Torres with me in my heart, in my mind, my body, and my soul. As he and I used to say that we were one soul split into two bodies.
Really?
This
Was
is not
that
just for a
before or
moment.
after
It may be for
tortured you?
everyone in this courtroom, but when I leave, this is forever. When you all leave, that this is forever. This is forever for everyone here and those who it matters to most. I am one of those who will experience this forever. I'm sorry.
For how long?
Words do not define my shame. And
And
I don't know what else it is that I can say and convey to the Torres family
you conveyed shit, lady.
how this happened,
But
the ifs and whys and how really don't matter. It happened, and I'm sorry.
you just gave us the ifs and the whys that don't matter. What the?
Words cannot describe.
You just used them.
And I hope that everyone can forgive me, the Torres family most of all, and his daughters, because I know what he meant to them.
Even
And
though
I
just
don't think that
spewed all
anybody
that
ever
shit
understood
there.
what he meant to me and I to him.
Well-
And I ask for forgiveness.
Really? Did not sound like it.
And I'd like to show you my
I
stab
have
wound.
just one or two questions, if you don't mind.
Could you show us your stab wound?
You can speak on it if you want or not. But this is a unique case, and one of the reasons it's so unique is that you were in jail for 4.5 years prior to your trial.
She just proved she didn't
And I
learn shit.
understand that when you were brought up as a child, that you did have some spirituality in your family, some church, some religion.
That's what I went up
Always.
for.
But I understand that you got away from that. Did you have a chance during the 4.5 years to look back at your spirituality?
Absolutely. You know, everyone supposes that this is one of the worst experiences of my life, and it's actually been one of my greatest. If I were not beaten to death, I was going to work myself to death on the outside. And I never had time to get back into my Bible and to pray and to be with the Lord. And I, being here incarcerated, have had time, of course, to get closer to God, to reacquaint myself to him and realize what it's all about. It's this is all temporary. And when I say temporary, I don't mean by being set free in jail or from prison or wherever else. It means being set free and temporary, meaning that you work for something higher, you work for God, that you strive for your crown to be placed upon your head by Jesus Christ by being said, "You have done well, my good and faithful servant." I've always tried to be a good and faithful servant. I was just a servant as opposed to doing all that I can when my family were alive and I was going through everything up to this point. I've become so much more closer to the Lord, and it's made me such a better person. And I hope that I am an example going forward of the Lord's light and can draw many people to me because of it.
You
Any
just
follow-up, State?
showed us how unchanged you
No,
were.
I assumed that
I
was the
mean,
final word.
Thank you. She can return back to council's table. Anything else from your side of the ledger, Mr.
God,
Owens?
please
Yeah,
just
I mean-
hand
No more
down her
witnesses,
sentence
Judge,
right
just-
now.
Just argument.
State
Okay.
doesn't have to add
Anything else
shit
in
to
rebuttal
that.
or just proceed to argument, State?
I almost want to fast forward the argument just
All
to
right.
hear
Once
this
Ms.
bitch's
Booth is
sentence.
seated, you can
I
proceed with
can't
your argument.
believe it.
Either Mr.
I mean,
J or Mr. Cacciatore.
even if those things happen, like it's not fair of me to be like, I don't think any of that shit happened because but
You may
you
proceed,
don't
sir.
do that at a sentencing hearing. Like that's not the point. You weren't supposed to say any of those words. It was
Right.
awful. It was horrible. Like literally, I wouldn't be surprised.
It is exactly what I thought was going to happen.
And I didn't hear her
It's
on that
exactly
video
what I
being
thought was
like,
gonna
"This
happen.
is because you stabbed me and tortured me." It wasn't it like you'll think of this when you talk to other girls or something like that. Next time you're cheating on me, wasn't that what she was complaining about?
Yeah, or that,
Am
yeah.
I
It was
making that
always
up?
that's how I felt when, you were choking me and,
Oh, she did say that. Oh,
she said
okay.
all kinds of shit, but no one's surprised, right? Like this is what she got on the stand and did. This is the most predictable thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. She delivered. She stood and delivered the big steaming pile of bullshit that I knew she was
And
going to do.
I'm
It's
certain
amazing.
her
I'm going to have
lawyer
so much content I'm going to make out of that thing. It's going to be, it's like the biggest shit show I've ever seen. I really hope that Kraynick does exactly what you said he's going to do. I hope that he says, look,
I just
I was
tacked on 10
originally,
years.
before you opened your big mouth, I was going to sentence you to 15, 20, 25 years, give you a shot. But then you talked, then you spoke, then you said words, and you flamed through every single person in this courtroom. Most importantly, the family of Jorge Torres.
Showed a complete lack of remorse, a
It's
complete
nothing,
lack
dude.
of
That was insane.
Oh my God, it
That
was
was
so crazy.
insane. That was like
I
Sarah Boone, man.
I have to assume that lawyer tried his very, very hardest to tell her that is
yeah.
only going to hurt you.
She ain't hearing shit from anybody ever. Like she is like, she went through 8 lawyers for a reason. She is not hearing shit ever. Yeah, look, Sarah Boone, she never disappoints. Now let's watch this bitch get life.
Your Honor, I'm going to start my argument by what I
don't think it was on
anticipate
purpose, though.
Mr. Owens will bring up in his presentation regarding the plea offer in this case. That she was offered the resolution in this case of 15 years in the Department of Corrections to begin with. I think it's important, though, that the entire circumstance of that plea offer is put forward. And there's something very critical to that. It's not just 15 years in the Department of Corrections. It's 15 years in the Department of Corrections, but it's predicated on something.
Accepting
The
responsibility.
consideration that it's predicated on is the defendant coming to court and accepting responsibility for her actions. For her coming to court and saying, I am responsible for Jorge Torres's death, and I accept the punishment that comes with it. That consideration was never given in this case. And because that consideration was never given in this case, the offer of 15 years in no way represents what this case is worth, or what George Torres' life is worth. That is an offer predicated on a particular circumstance, a circumstance of a first-time defendant accepting responsibility and giving every benefit of the doubt and coming to court and saying that they are ready to be punished. Those conditions were never met.
And she
So
just
then we
sat here and did
turn
the opposite.
to this case, and we turn to this crime, and we turn to the actions of the defendant of taking the law into her own hands in murdering George Torres. She has never shown remorse for that. She didn't show remorse for that here today.
I told you, you should have shown some remorse.
She again painted herself as the victim.
Yep.
She's the victim of George Torres. She recounted the litany of evil deeds and mistreatments that he perpetrated upon her. She's the victim of George Torres' family. She's the victim of the police. She's the victim of social media.
She's a victim of
It's
Your
all
Honor.
about Sarah Boone. Everything's about Sarah Boone, about how she is the victim. Sarah Boone sentenced every one of George Torres' loved ones to a life sentence. Just like she sentenced George Torres when he was in that suitcase. George Torres lived out his last nightmarish circumstance in that suitcase, begging to be let out for several minutes, which undercuts any argument that this was somehow unsophisticated. There was ample time and opportunity over and over for her to do something different, but she went forward with taking the law into her own hands and ensuring that George Torres was never getting out of there, while she went up to bed and went to sleep for hours on end. She can't say that she was in duress for the same reason. She was in such duress of George Torres that she goes upstairs and goes to sleep for 11 hours. Your Honor, there's been nothing from the testimony of Dr. Harper either that establishes any type of diagnosis that would give this court a basis to downward depart. Dr. Harper has put blinders on to the fact that she has been incarcerated for 58 months. 58 months with the opportunity to receive mental health treatment, and the expert witness is absolutely incurious about what any of those records or diagnosis or anything that would have been there would have said. There is no valid basis for a downward departure in this case. She deserves a life sentence. Thank you.
Mr. Owens, response?
Your Honor, the stab wound. Defense rest.
Just credit. First off, I want to thank you for taking the time to hear our side, hear the witnesses, and review the letters on Sarah Boone's behalf. We've all been here for this trial. We've all been here for other trials. We've all got some age on us. We've all got some life experience on us. And this is a unique case. This was a unique homicide. It was a unique death. And as we all know, a lot of these cases are not black and white. They're shades of gray. And these crimes don't occur in a vacuum. That there's generally a history, especially involving a domestic couple, a history that comes into play that must be explored. And a lot of what Sarah Boone testified to here today probably happened behind closed doors. And we all know that many times we do not know what happens behind closed doors between a man and a woman in their home, unless there is some reason for the neighbors or law enforcement or somebody else to get involved. And that happened in this case. And so gradually over time, as this event occurred, there was an investigation, and it was learned that there was a history of domestic violence involving these two parties. And what we learned was that physically there was violence, and there were photographs to establish that, as were introduced in the trial. And then there was testimony from experts, not only the defense expert, Dr. Harper, that Sarah Boone was the victim, and she was a victim of intimate partner violence, but coupled with the fact that the state's expert testified on the stand at the trial that Sarah Boone was a victim of intimate partner violence, that she suffered from this domestic or this battered spouse syndrome as the hands of Jorge Torres. So there's two sides to it. And in a domestic violence situation like that, 95% of the women get out of that relationship. When violence starts to occur, they've either been raised a certain way, they have a certain self-esteem about themselves where they refuse to put up with it, knowing that it's wrong, knowing that they can do better. But there is a small percentage throughout the country that for whatever reason, mental health issues, addiction issues, whatever it is, it's complex. Financial reasons, children are involved, whatever. If you do any studying on it, there are circumstances where there is a group of women, predominantly women, it can happen to men, but majority of the time it's a woman that gets caught in this cycle of what we term as intimate partner violence. And heard the testimony about the cycle that occurs. It's over a period of time and it repeats itself, and you go through these phases. And a lot of times the victim's not a great historian at trying to articulate it. She tried to do it here today. And I think on Sarah Boone's behalf, she is a unique individual. She's got the personality that she's got. I don't know, you heard from Dr. Harper that a lot of that was formulated based on the way her mother did not bond with her, the way that her father was the way that he was, the fact that she lost several relatives.
She's got the personality that she's got
at a young age, and the trauma that can result. We heard from Dr. Harper that she did suffer from post-traumatic stress as it relates to that trauma in early childhood, and then again as it relates to the events that occurred between Mr. Torres and her. So it's complicated, Judge. It's complicated. But the jury has spoken. Sarah Boone was entitled under Florida law to present that defense, and she did. That testimony was allowed to be presented. She was allowed to testify. But the jury spoke. And so here we are today with you in a position to decide what is justice for Sarah Boone. And I don't know you that much other than our time together, but from what I know you try to do the right thing. And that's what we're asking the court to do, to have some discernment.
What are you asking for?
To have
Let's hear it.
some understanding of the unique situation that Sarah Boone found herself in.
And I'm asking for
And quite frankly, Judge,
probation.
this all didn't occur behind closed doors. A lot of this was in the public eye.
Are you feeding into this too?
Mr. Torres had, I believe, 3 criminal cases before the courts of this county in which Sarah Boone was a victim. Mr. Torres was the accused. Those cases were dismissed. We know from the history of this domestic violence field that that's normal, that Sarah Boone every time either tried to bond him out or tried to
speed
get
him
the
up.
case dismissed.
Babe.
At some point, somebody has to stop.
Speed him up.
Somebody has to say, wait.
Okay.
What's going on here?
Yes, ma'am.
This keeps repeating.
I just hope the judge is
It's going to get worse. Something's going to happen. The system failed, Sarah Boone.
Oh.
I asked for you to consider that.
Oh.
Circumstances surrounding that failure.
Is that going to ask for an amount of time?
And
I've asked the court to consider a downward departure. I believe you've gotten a copy of the score sheet.
A downward departure? What are you, federal
Not
court?
since before trial. Is the score sheet stipulated to?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right, you may approach.
And Judge, I'd ask you to consider the stat
Thank you.
warrant.
Yes, sir.
Judge, I was provided that here today, and I believe, I can't remember the total number of months that it involves, but divided by 12, I think it's 20 months. 20.6 is the low end of the guidelines or something about.
It's 246.0 months based on the score sheet.
I did the calculation, but I believe that the low end is 20 years. I'm sorry, 20 years, 20.6 years state prison, I believe is the low end.
20.5. Yes, sir.
As the court knows, I believe it's on page 3. There are some aggravators that the court can consider in opposing the sentence, and then there are a list of mitigators that the court can consider in downward departing, meaning going lesser than the low end of the guidelines. And in the defendant's motion for downward departure, we mentioned, and I had Dr. Harper testify about 2 or 3 of the grounds, and the court needs to only find 1 to go below the guidelines. The capacity of the defendant to appreciate the criminal nature of her actions and to conform said actions to the requirements of the law were substantially impaired. Judge, I don't have to reiterate the facts and circumstances surrounding this event. You were here, you heard the testimony, you heard the circumstances surrounding what happened and how it happened. I would ask that you consider that as a mitigator. 2D, the defendant requires specialized treatment for a mental disorder that is not related to substance abuse or addiction and is amenable to treatment. I think it's fair to say here that we know that Sarah suffers from some mental health issues, objective mental health issues that have been opined by Dr. Harper and Dr. Werner. And you heard Dr. Harper testify about the post-traumatic stress disorder that she suffers from as it relates to this event, as it relates to her trauma that occurred in childhood. I think we heard from Dr. Werner. Dr. Werner testified that she suffered from the alcohol abuse disorder, as did Dr. Harper, but Dr. Werner also mentioned that she was not sure about the anxiety disorder, whether it occurred prior to or because she was in the jail for the 4.5 years. However, she does require specialized treatment for the mental disorder, and she is amenable for treatment. And then third, the defendant acted under extreme duress, I think based on Sarah Boone's mindset, as she testified to here today, and then you heard from the experts at the trial, that when you get that anxious about what happens, Sarah testified about they would have good days where there would be no drinking or very little drinking, and then there would be other days where there was heavy drinking, and generally when Jorge Torres got highly intoxicated is when potentially things could get violent, and that she was constantly anxious about each day that she was with him. She loved him, obviously being in a cycle like that where you love someone but can't leave them. For whatever reason, Jorge Torres couldn't leave Sarah Boone, and Sarah Boone couldn't leave Jorge Torres, and it was a vicious cycle. But we believe that she qualifies under that it was under extreme duress at the time of this event. And lastly, the offense was committed in an unsophisticated manner, which was an isolated incident. Now, isolated, we know, Judge, that she had one prior event in which both of them were arrested. You heard her testimony that it was during an event. They ended up downstairs next to the washer and dryer, and that she was on the bottom, and she had used her hands to try to get him off, and she had tried to choke him, and there were some marks on him. And she was arrested for I think felony domestic violence battery, as well as he was arrested. I think a few days later, both of those charges were dismissed against either party. But she has no criminal conviction record. She has never been convicted of a crime other than that event. Now, I think that can be distinguished. So we believe that it was an unsophisticated manner. Obviously, the uniqueness of this event is unsophisticated. Anybody that would calculate that they were going to murder somebody by putting them in a suitcase and let them spend the night, and the next morning, not try to dispose of the body, not try to put the suitcase in a car and go dump the body, not try to dispose of the bat, do something. She did nothing. No attempts to tamper with evidence. No attempts after the fact to uncover any conduct whatsoever. No attempts to delete the videos from her phone. Here's my phone, voluntarily giving that information. I think that goes to the unsophisticated manner of unintentional death that occurred. I remember the first time I saw the suitcase video, and I know people have different opinions. Tony Henderson, my colleague, had a different opinion when he saw it. But I remember the first time I saw the video, and I heard what she was saying to him. When he was saying, "Hey, Sarah, let me out. I can't breathe," and words to that effect. And the way that she was talking to him, and the statements that she gave him, in my mind, what has he done to her? What has he done to her? Any loved one you see in a situation like that is going to run and let him out. So my thought was, obviously, they were both drinking. But what has he done to her? And I think it's telling about what she'd endured. So it's not a clear-cut case, Judge. It's not black and white. There is some gray. And it's up to you to decide what's appropriate based on the courts, based on the jury's decision. But I would ask you to temper whatever justice that you think is appropriate with some mercy, and consider the fact that the state was willing to offer 15 years on a manslaughter as a lesser included offense based on the facts and circumstances that they were aware of prior to this trial. Thank you.
Thank you. Any rebuttal by the state?
He just asked for a downward departure, but didn't ask for
the opportunity to review the evidence and testimony that was presented at trial. The victim impact statements presented here today.
Hey, babe.
The statements of character witnesses, both orally and in
Slow
writing.
the judge down now.
Harper's report and testimony. The defendant's testimony. Pre-sentencing investigation. The arguments of the state and the arguments of the defense. Court pronounces sentence as follows. Ms. Boone, court sentences you to life in the Department of Corrections with credit time served that Madam Clerk will provide to you momentarily. There are also court costs and costs of prosecution, which Madam Clerk will give you the totals of momentarily. Due to the court levying a life sentence, the court is inclined to liquidate those to a civil judgment unless I hear opposition from the state.
No opposition, Your Honor.
All right. Madam Clerk, if you could please give us the credit time served and the court costs, please.
4 years, 9 months, and 8 days, and the court costs are $418, a state prosecution fee of $100, a dirt fee of $50, and a PD. Oh, excuse me, you're not screwed.
Right.
So the total would be to 608.
I don't know.
All right, ma'am, the court costs and costs of prosecution are $618. Those will be liquidated to a civil judgment. You will be given credit time served of 4 years, 9 months, and 8 days. You will have 30 days from today to appeal the judgment and sentence in writing. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you. I'm going to have the courtroom deputy provide you the paperwork. Because you've been incarcerated for the last 58 some odd months, the court is going to declare that you are indigent in this matter. I cannot appoint the public defender to represent you as they are conflicted out. Similarly, I cannot appoint the regional conflict counsel to represent you for the same reasons. The clerk will appoint an attorney from the conflict wheel who specializes in appellate litigation. And again, you'll have 30 days from today to appeal that judgment and sentence in writing. Do you have any questions for me? You will now be remanded into the custody of the Orange County Jail to transfer you to the Department of Corrections, and I wish you the best of luck. State, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, anything further? All right. Thank you all very much. Court's off the record.
Wow.
Wow. There you go.
All right. Well, he might have been doing that no matter what. I don't know. I don't
He
know.
was doing that no matter what. It didn't matter. It was always going to be that. It was always going to be that. All right, hold on. Talk for 1 sec, baby. I got to handle something. You know what I'm handling.
I was going to talk me right out of here. Deal with the dog and I don't know, guys. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't think she deserved life. I obviously hated everything she said at sentencing. She showed a complete lack of remorse, but honestly, I just don't think she did it on, like, I don't know. I don't know. Um, see what you guys think. No, Nook's not. He's home. He's home. Would never leave him. Not any longer than I had to. Um, so what do you guys think? Most of you think she deserved life? Yeah, her lack of remorse really does just, speak volumes. I mean, she couldn't have thought he deserved to die for all of the things that he did. I just don't know why she did any of that. But all right, guys. Well, I think we have stuff to think about here. And if you ever find yourself in hot water, uh, you know, trust your first 7 lawyers. Or if you're getting repeated advice from multiple lawyers, try listening to them. There's not any part of me that doesn't think her lawyer tried to talk her out of saying any of those things. If he didn't, then I don't know how to help him, because obviously that was not. Dom's mom thinks it's fair. She's been so callous through this whole thing. I mean, it's she really did herself 0 favors there. And, if here, you'd need to go through, like, the sentencing things a little more than he did. Like, I'm used to them being like, I find this aggravator, I find this aggravator, I find that aggravator, like giving some more reasons um for the sentence. But so but I think even if there wasn't any appellate issue on the sentence, like, oh, he didn't take into account any of my mitigation, blah blah blah, like what she said, even without the tone and tenor of what she said, I'm coming, Nook. The appellate court's going to be like, the judge decided the lack of remorse made her a higher risk to the public, made her less amenable to rehabilitation, you know. And I think Lisa's right. She'll find a way to survive in prison. All right, everybody. I think we will.
All right. You can dip off, babe. I'll say goodbye to everybody. All right, you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. We're gonna figure it out tonight. What we're gonna do.
I'm coming, Nook.
Doesn't sound like there's any trials. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. We will peek and figure it out over the course of the evening. There's definitely a few things that I want to cover that I'm still behind on because of Delphi. But you guys rock. I'm not surprised that she got life. And frankly, based on her just complete lack of remorse, I think she got exactly what she deserves. I mean, throughout the trial, I was kind of the mindset that, like, I don't think that she zipped him up, like, intending to kill him. But I think at some point that she intended to kill him, like she knew, and she knew for far too long. So, well, she's going to have the rest of her life to sit in there. She'll appeal. There'll be many appeals, all the appeals. And, Benefield sentence tomorrow. Oh, shit. If that's going, we're definitely doing that. So, all right, we'll figure it all out. You guys, thank you for all those of you who so generously donated DD memberships. Cool lady, you're always amazing. Lemonade Kale, thank you so much. And that is out today. Look for it. Garcia just dropped. Contrary Mary, thank you so much. Meg P, always giver. Amazing mod. Cool lady came back with 5 more, and then Sinead. You guys are amazing. And to all my mods, I love you guys. and we will see you tomorrow. Take care.